Oh, let's get that going. There we go.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
And now a message from your 45th president, Donald J. Trump.
We are very blessed to call this nation our home, and that's what America is. It is our home. It's where we raise our families, care for our loved ones, look out for our neighbors, and live out our dreams. It's my prayer that on this Thanksgiving, we begin to heal our divisions and move forward as one country, strengthened by shared purpose and very, very common resolve. In declaring this national holiday, President Lincoln called upon Americans to speak with one voice and one heart. That's just what we have to do. We've just finished a long and bruising political campaign. Emotions are raw and tensions just don't heal overnight. It doesn't go quickly, unfortunately. But we have before us the chance now to make history together, to bring real change to Washington, real safety to our cities, and real prosperity to our communities, including our inner cities. So important to me and so important to our country. But to succeed, we must enlist the effort of our entire nation. This historic political campaign is now over. But now begins a great national campaign to rebuild our country and to restore the full promise of America for all of our people. I'm asking you to join me in this effort. It's time to restore the bonds of trust between citizens, because when America is unified, there is nothing beyond our reach, and I mean absolutely nothing. Let us give thanks for all that we have, and let us boldly face the exciting new frontiers that lie ahead. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio. Your host, Brian Smith, and Carrie Smith, who is currently being detained, attempted to cross the border. Carrie Smith will be here with us very shortly, but until then, I'm going to give you the wrap-up of what we're doing, what the show's going to be about tonight. Well, big news this week, and that's what Smith Radio is all about, giving you all the breaking news of last week, wrapping it all up, making sense of it all, giving you real facts, and yes, our opinion. However, our opinion is usually always correct. Carrie Smith and I will always give you the hard-hitting news and the details to where we'll expose all the fake news, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, MSNBC, and you can add Fox to the list too. Fox, you're right up there with everybody else. It's so sad. So last week was Thanksgiving, and that was the message from Donald J. Trump that he put out on Thanksgiving Day to the nation. He is a true leader. He is speaking to the nation. He is working on healing the wounds that have been opened up, and Obama has poured salt in those wounds for 8 solid years. It's absolutely incredible what the left has done, what the Democrat Party has done. They have absolutely destroyed everything that we have ever known and loved about America. And so, with a resounding Trump win, that's what you get. You get what we had, which is the people standing up, the people voting out the corrupt politicians, the pay-to-play, the Democrat Party. And yes, we've also got some problems on the right in the Republican Party, and we're dealing with those. I know if you were paying any attention to the news or social media, not the news, but social media, and maybe even the news, they brought it up. They kept hammering it home. But this whole thing about Mitt Romney, we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Trump's transition team. We're going to talk about Fidel Castro. That was big news Friday evening. Fidel, the communist, terrorist, dictator, murderer, just absolutely murdering and killing anyone who had any opinion different than him, has died. Died Friday night. We're going to talk about that, talk about communism, what that means, and where communism lies. Did communism die with Castro? I beg to differ. Communism's alive and well, unfortunately, in our country, and we are fighting that every day. Talk about the demise of the Democrat Party. Also going to talk about the recall, the recount of 2016. Jill Stein, she's a loony bin. Jill Stein was the candidate for the... Sorry about that, folks. I'm looking into some stuff real quick. Jill Stein was the candidate for the Green Party. The Green Party, just another name for the Communist Party. That's all it is. The Green Party has been taken over and been renamed the Communist Party. Well, we call it the Communist Party, but the Green Party is the Communist Party. It's the whole global warming, everything global warming, everything taxes, higher taxes, got to pay for this global warming, man-made global warming, which is an absolute farce. And folks, don't wane on your support with Donald Trump. Do not think for 1 second. I know news reports were coming out. Fake news was coming out all week. Donald Trump softening on global warming. No. He's not even president yet. We're not going down that road. There's a saying: a man who worries too soon worries too much. Do not worry about anything until it happens. We don't know what's going to happen. Donald Trump is going to make it happen. We do know a fact. The fact is Donald Trump is a tremendous leader. He's ran his businesses. He's done a phenomenal job as a leader, as a businessman, a multi-billionaire. He's made very, very wise decisions. I have not seen one time in this entire campaign where he has been wrong about something in the sense that he lied, that he cheated, that he stole. Nothing. Nobody can find anything. The only thing the mainstream media could find was 11-year-old video with Billy Bush and Trump grabbing posse. Okay, man. Is that all you guys got? Okay, great. So, again, do not worry about something Trump may or may not do 6 months from now, a year from now. Let's talk about what's real and what he really is doing. And that's what we're going to get into. Some of the picks, the whole Romney thing. Yeah. Okay. I know I mentioned it when I mention it again. But global warming, Trump is not a global warmist at all. He doesn't believe in man-made global warming. He said it before on the campaign trail that it's a made-up hoax, which it is, made up by the left, because that's all they've got. It's the whole, would somebody please think about the children? That's exactly what global warming is. Global warming is that joke to pull at your heartstrings, to get you to think narrow-mindedly and not broad-mindedly. Not only that, but global warming or global cooling or climate change, climate chaos, all the terms that they've used, it's all a joke. You couldn't control it anyways. There is nothing that you could humanly do. And not you folks, I mean, you're listening to Smith Radio. You know better than this. But for the left to think for some reason, some way, some possibility that they could actually control the climate in some form or fashion is absolutely, sorry folks, it's asinine. It is just beyond themselves. They couldn't stop it. They couldn't start it. They couldn't do anything to get global warming to stop. And this whole global warming, climate change, this is now being ran by the United Nations, and they want it to be a one world order where we all come together and all the money and all the tax dollars flow into the United Nations, which is a huge corrupt institute that we are seeing worldwide. It's insanity. And Trump saying, we need to leave the UN. Okay, maybe so. I would like us to be out of the UN as well, because we fund the UN to the tune of billions of dollars when other countries don't fund it whatsoever. So it's a big Ponzi scheme to suck the money out of America. And we've got to stop that. It's just absolute insanity to think that we need the United Nations in any form or fashion. And yes, we need to get back to nationalism. We need to focus on our country in America. We need to focus on the problems that we have had to endure because Obama has created them. And I know we've talked about it on the show many times before, but the racism is out of control. I cannot remember a time in our history where racism was so first and foremost in the forefront of everybody's mind, because the news is putting it there. Obama's been putting it there for almost 8 solid years. And then you've got this knucklehead on CNN. This is Al Sharpton has to be the most despicable racist. And he marched with Reverend King. Al Sharpton was there back in the day, and now he's got a show on CNN, and 314 times in 1 year, he sounded like this.
When we talk about it, we're pulling the race card. Race, 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 obsessed with race, race.
That is Al Sharpton for 3 solid minutes. 314 times calling race, racist, race card. This is what the mainstream media, this is CNN. This is the mainstream media, and this is what they have to give you. It's unbelievable, folks. So let's jump into some of the news of today. And by the way, CNN, I want to thank you for this soundbite. Folks, this is CNN getting it right.
Right now, a historic moment. We can now project the winner of the presidential race. CNN projects Donald Trump wins the presidency. The business tycoon and TV personality capping his improbable political journey with an astounding upset victory. Donald J. Trump will become the 45th president of the United States, defeating Hillary Clinton in a campaign unlike anything we've seen in our lifetime. Donald Trump wins the presidency of the United States. He is now going to be called President-elect Donald Trump. He's walking up right now. You see him right there. He's going to be speaking momentarily. He's got his wife there. History has been made. Jake, this is a moment a lot of people are going to remember.
All the boys for Trump yelling mega. All the girls for Trump yelling mega. Yeah, yeah. All the veterans for Trump yelling mega. Stand up, get the mega yelling louder. Yeah, yeah. Make America
That's
great
right, folks.
again.
That's right. Make America great again. That's what it's all about. CNN getting it right. And let me tell you, every morning I wake up and I just got to pinch myself. The reality of Donald Trump is here, folks. Donald Trump is our 45th president, regardless of whatever anybody says. Jill Stein raising millions and millions of dollars to in the attempt. It appears she's putting on a facade. And I'm going to let you know what that's all about. She's putting on a facade, a recount of the 2016 election. People spreading these lies that Donald Trump didn't win and that a recount would actually get Hillary to win. Nope, never going to happen. Don't listen to them. Don't let them get you upset. Again, like I said, if you worry about something that before it's time to worry, you worry too much. Don't go down that road. And here's a scathing audio sound clip from Tommy. She's an incredible 24. I believe she's in her early 20s, 24, 25-year-old. She has her own show on theblaze.com. Yes, that is a show that Glenn Beck started a few years ago. Regardless of Glenn Beck, who has fallen so far from glory, if you will. What a sad sack. But anyways, Tommy Lauren has come out, and she is a voice for women and a voice for reason, if you will. And California wanting to secede, and California wanting to get up out of America and roll out. This is Occupy Democrats speaking in an audio soundbite. Tommy will get to it. She'll play it, and then she'll come back. So listen to this real quick.
Go after our small backward towns. Go right ahead.
Your petty backward state, your small angry towns can pay for your own schools to not educate your children. I live in California, the largest economy in the United States and the 6th largest in the world. We'll be fine.
And we are the hateful, intolerant ones? Sure. The left is all about tolerance so long as it fits their narrative. If not, they pay people to incite violence at political rallies or protests, all because they are sucky losers and quite frankly shameless. The Democratic Party was once the party of the American worker. You won elections by winning over the Rust Belt, but now your party has shunned those folks in favor of illegal immigrants, Black Lives Matter more activists, and celebrities. That's why you lost. And not just the presidency. That's why you lost big in Congress and state and local races around the country. We're Americans. We're Americans who elected Donald J. Trump to be our president. And if that hurts your feelings or offends your morals, go sing about it on stage, but let the rest of us get back to work. Because we happen to have a lot of pride in our small backward towns, and we always will. Your candidate lost, and guess what? Sometimes it just sucks to suck. Those are my final thoughts. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Tommy Lahren from Dallas. God bless, and take care.
I can't say it any better than that. She is absolutely phenomenal. I'm sorry about the audio issue there, folks, with the echo and the sound bites. Apparently, Mr. Producer's giving me a heads up on that. We're going to just gonna have to endure it a little bit. I think I can get the echo out. Just bear with us. But Tommy is an incredible voice out there. If you want to talk about news or if you want to talk about commentary, she is certainly one to listen to and one to watch. As well as Paul Joseph Watson out of Prison Planet. He's phenomenal. And Mike Cernovich, all this new news media that's coming out. Breitbart, to say the least. Breitbart is definitely one of those new news media outlets that you need to plug yourself into. Breitbart has an app, BREITBART, Breitbart.com. Just a phenomenal news outlet. If you're basing all your information on CNN, MSNBC, all the mainstream media outlets, you're doing damage to yourself, if you will. You're doing a lot of damage. So we have in studio a special guest. Welcome to our special guest. He's choked up on it. It's all the way backwards again. We got Carrie Smith in studio.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Glad to be here. Hopefully I'm not too late. And so, what happened this week?
Nothing.
Nothing happened.
You know, something I wanted to mention, speaking about nothing happening. Every year, and I know a lot of people talk about this, so we're not an uncommon family. Every year we get together for either Thanksgiving, a holiday, Christmas, whatever. Politics has usually come up.
Usually always, I would say.
Right. And some people get heated. Some people leave. Some people swear to never talk about politics again. How was our Thanksgiving this year?
I think it was unanimous.
Undisputed.
Now, your sister, who happens to be a possibly in the union, teachers union, possibly.
Oh yeah. Well,
she has to be a Hillary supporter, right?
We have to be quiet about what she did and didn't do, in case one of her students are listening.
Oh, well, what did she do?
She was threatened with violence.
No, I didn't hear this. You got to fill me in. Because I did not hear about this.
She's an art teacher.
Oh, man, that's like, I mean, it's one thing to be a math or science teacher, but you're saying art?
Yeah.
You don't get any more liberal than that.
You would think. So the student said, kept beating her up, said, I know you voted for him. I know you did. And my sister eventually said, come on, look, I'm a woman. I'm in the union. I'm a teacher, and I teach art. Who do you think I voted for? Come on. And then they were like, oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah. So they backed off.
Okay.
A bit.
So she used prejudice against them.
Yeah, correct. Had to.
Because a female art teacher has to be a Hillary supporter, right?
How would they not? And to her credit, she has been turning the corner for years. It's been a slow corner, but she's turned it. And I tell you what, she listens to the show. She listens to us. She listens to reason. I mean, that's all you have to do is just listen to.
Eventually, like she does now. Like originally, she was the one that told me, Bush lied, people died. And I said, oh, really? Why don't you go ahead and tell me what lie he said? Because I'm clueless. I don't know. Give me a lie. And then she was like, well, the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. I said, oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he actually know that there was no weapons of mass destruction in there? Or did he think there was and he was wrong about it? Because being wrong is not the same as lying.
Correct.
And then she shut up and said, she didn't shut up. She said, I never really thought about it that way. And then I thought I brought her around. And I went around to you guys and bragged to you guys about how I brought her around. And you guys cracked up laughing at me and said, you didn't do nothing. She's a teacher. She ain't turn around nothing. She's going to be a Bush hater for the rest of her life.
Years ago, she had talked to me about the union that she was this is back in 2008. Hillary Clinton went and visited her union. Like, she didn't meet Hillary personally, but she was there in the room with Hillary. Like, she didn't shake her hand or anything, but she was extremely excited about Hillary in 2008 and what that could mean. Well, fast forward 8 years. And she's voting for
against her.
Trump!
Well, you can't vote for evil. It's as simple as that.
You can't.
What about the people that say, I don't want to vote for a lesser of two evils? So they're saying that Trump is evil.
Well, and I had heard that back when I was younger, too.
Younger? What?
Yeah, back Bush, Clinton. I'd heard we talking amongst ourselves. Oh, well, it's just the lesser of two evils. I'm like, yeah, I guess. I was a little disconnected back in the day.
Well, what about Trump? You would have to think he's evil in order to say lesser of two evils.
If you listen to mainstream media, or
the fake news.
Right, if you plug yourself into fake news, then you will believe that there's something inherently evil about Donald J. Trump. I mean, just to the core.
Right. I'm actually looking at fake news right now.
Or you might think he's a racist. Did you hear the one about Wolf Blitzer? Did Sean Spicer? Wolf Blitzer called it racist. KK denounced the KKK. Denounce.
Right. Basically what they did with that was they went around and looked for a member of the KKK to see if they would say that they voted for him, and they found him.
So this past week, I got a soundbite real quick. This past week, Wolf Blitzer had Spicer on. And here's how that little ditty went.
In his interview, he denounced white supremacists. He denounced the neo-Nazis who support him, said, and I'm quoting him now, it's not a group I want to energize, and if they are energized, I want to look into it and find out why. Specific words. Tell us a little bit more. Should he go out and deliver a speech specifically denouncing these neo-Nazis, these white supremacists?
You got to stop it right there if you can.
There we go.
So he said he denounced him to the media, which presumably, that if it's a mainstream media outlet, doesn't that count as public?
Yeah.
So a public denunciation. Now Wolf Blitzer's trying to say one more and say, well, maybe he needs more than just telling a media outlet that he denounces this KKK member, alleged. He may be KKK, he may not be, but he's most likely a Democrat. I mean, if you are in the KKK, you almost have to be a Democrat.
Yeah, absolutely. No, without a doubt.
But so he wants him to go one step further and say this in an actual official press conference, which is interesting because how many members of the press were present when he had denounced him the first time? Even if it was only one, all the other media outlets pick that up. At least they pick it up and they decide whether or not to repost it on their own news site. So a press conference, I don't know, maybe it makes Wolf Blitzer feel like it's even more official than his original denunciation. and which I thought was pretty strong. But anyway, go ahead with the next part of this bite.
I'm just asking, should he go out there and deliver a specific speech and make that abundantly clear he doesn't want these people support and he condemns them?
When is it going to be enough? He has condemned everyone that's come out and supported him, every group that supported him. At some point, you've got to take, his position and go move on.
Response to questions, you're right, and he's very tough in response to questions, but he doesn't do it necessarily on his own initiative. For example,
hold on a second. Okay, that was key. He doesn't necessarily do it on his own initiative. This guy is a needle in a haystack. The only reason that he had to denounce this guy was because the media went and found this guy. This guy was not public. We interviewed Jim Hoft on Your Voice Radio. He said, I've been in this business for 20 years. I am so well connected. I have insiders, outsiders, undersiders, oversiders. I have everything. I mean, I'm really well connected. He's the founder and he runs Gateway Pundit. And he said, I have never heard of this guy. And
did they come up with a name? I thought they were talking about David Duke. They're not even talking about David Duke anymore?
No, they're talking about the Spencer guy. So they went and found this guy that nobody knew. And I guarantee you the people that found him, the mainstream media fake news that found him, didn't know him. And hell, they might have even ordered this. They might have said, here's your script. Possibly.
You don't think they peeled back some greenbacks?
They have them. Jill Stein certainly has a lot of money now. And we'll get into that later. So he said, I mean, for him to not take initiative means that Trump has to run out and find this guy. The media, it's almost like he showed his hand here. He did. He showed his hand by saying that he doesn't take initiative to denounce these people. Well, who took the initiative to find this person?
Right, and why didn't they take the initiative to really vet Obama before that happened?
Right, if they did the amount of work in vetting and research and all that kind of stuff on Obama as they did this random guy that may or may not be legitimate, I don't know.
And the only negative thing to really hit the Trump campaign with the video about grabbing some posses. That's all. They don't have anything. They literally don't have anything.
Right. Nothing that has stuck at this point. What they've done is they've created a monster, and a good monster for us, but for them, it's a monster.
Oh, yeah.
And they can't do it's. And when I say created a monster, I don't mean Donald Trump. I mean they've created the movement.
Correct.
That Trump just happened to be the guy that seems to represent pretty well. He represents the Trump movement well. It didn't have to be called the Trump movement. It could have been called the Tea Party movement.
Right.
Which it kind of seems like it kind of turned into.
If you take the definition of Tea Party, like Rush will talk about on his show, he says there is no party, Tea Party.
Right.
There is no party. It's a grassroots, all-American, patriotic movement.
Right.
Which is exactly what happened with Trump.
Right. And the only reason they call it the Trump movement is because he's the one that embodies it at this point. And they're the ones that the movement, he's the one that the movement rallied around. But anyway, so they're kind of, Wolf Blitzer shows his hand here by saying that we're making him respond. And we're putting him in a situation where we can say, why didn't you take the initiative? The initiative on what? You found this guy. He's the needle in the haystack that you scoured the country to find. And now you're trying to say that Trump should have known about this guy? Jim Hoft did not know about this guy.
Okay, let's take it one step further. Let's look at the media themselves. For the next 4 years, is this what they're going to do? Trying to find... They're already making up fake news stories. We already know that.
Completely fake.
It's a fact. Not only that, but that one news story that happened on Thanksgiving evening. Did you hear about that?
Maybe. What is it?
CNN to air 30 minutes of adult content on Thanksgiving evening.
Why? What do you mean adult content?
Yes, hardcore adult content.
On
Thanksgiving evening in Boston on a local affiliate, CNN.
What kind of adult content?
Yeah. adult video.
Like rated R?
Triple X.
What?
Was that.
And why would they do this?
That broke as news, and Breitbart dug into it and said, let's find out what this is all about.
Okay.
Breitbart wrote an entire article about their steps of vetting out the sources, who it was, how it was, where did this come about, and why did it come about? They went on and on into CNN admitted, yes, it's happening, and then they said, no, it's not happening.
So they made it up.
Somebody started it on Twitter. Variety magazine, they tweeted out about it as well. It got legs. It ran because it had legs, went viral, and then CNN finally said, sorry. So this is what Breitbart reported. CNN accidentally falsely admits it aired pornography for 30 minutes on Thanksgiving, according to originally incorrect report from Variety, which was based on the inaccurate piece from The Independent. Both CNN and RCN are denying the reports that CNN admitted to that they aired inappropriate content for 30 minutes on Thanksgiving, Boston. Even adult content websites like Brazzers mocked CNN for it.
Oh, wow. So even pornographic sites are
trolling.
They're making fun of the mainstream media for being fake. We got the rest of this clip. It actually gets better. This is Wolf Blitzer, and I don't even know who he's talking to.
I still got more.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and play the rest of that.
He hits the news media when he thinks there's a story that's unfair. He tweets when he's outraged about something in the media, Hamilton, what happened at the Broadway musical Hamilton. But he doesn't seem to go out of his way to express his outrage over people hailing him with Nazi salutes. Why doesn't he do that more dramatically, if you will, and make it clear he wants no part of these people?
Because I think it's asked and answered, Wolf. You've asked me eight times the same question. I've told you what his position is. That's because that's not his focus. His focus is making this country better for all Americans, creating a better country, creating a better education system for all Americans, rebuilding our inner city. That's what his focus is.
I think what a lot of people would like to see is a formal statement. Wait a minute.
No, they wouldn't. Right. What do you mean a lot of people? Oh, my gosh. It's so transparent what they're trying to do. It's so blatantly obvious. And I hope Wolf at least knows and is just like, well, you know what? I have a role to play. I'm a method actor, and I'm don't distract me from my role.
Right.
Because if he thinks he's still pulling the wool over our eyes, they are in for some massive losses. And you know why? Because we're not going anywhere. The true news, the SmithRadio.com, the Mike Cernoviches, the Paul Joseph Watsons, the Bill Mitchells, the Jim Hoffs, the Amy Morenos, we're not going anywhere.
No.
We're growing. And the reason we're growing is because people are looking for real news. They're looking for truth. They are really upset about the lies. And it's ridiculous. I have one in front of me. You want to hear some fake news? I've been blasting this on Twitter all week because it is disgusting. This is Washington Post. As soon as I read the headline, I knew that this was fake, but I wanted to see how fake by reading into the body. So the actual headline is Russian propaganda effort helped spread fake news during election, experts say. So what they're trying to set up here, okay, this is obviously a story about fake news being spread during the election, but it was Russian propaganda?
CNN helped that along as well. And after this, I've got an actual soundbite.
Well, my first reaction to this is, okay, so talking about fake news, so in my opinion, what's really fake news? Right. And by the way, the Washington Post, affectionately called the Washington Compost, right. by Rush Limbaugh and all them, they're mostly propaganda, liberal propaganda, mostly fake, but they've come out with some good stuff. So I'm thinking, what is this? Are they talking, when they say fake news, are they talking about what we talk about, which is NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, those kind of mainstream media, and sometimes even Fox News?
Fox has been dipping a little bit.
Is Russian propaganda actually helping the mainstream media? What is this about? So I read into it. The flood of fake news this election season got support from a sophisticated Russian propaganda campaign that created and spread misleading articles online with the goal of punishing Democrat Hillary Clinton, helping Republican Donald Trump, and undermining the faith in American democracy, say independent researchers. Independent researchers who track the operation. By the way, that entire first paragraph is complete fiction.
There's so much fiction out there.
Oh, by the way, there's got to be evidence, right? Well, let's read on.
You have to have empirical evidence.
That kind of charge needs some serious evidence. Okay, so Russia's increasingly sophisticated propaganda machinery, which, thanks for telling me that, but you just made that up, I think, including thousands of botnets. Now, you guys listening at home, you guys get on Twitter. You have to. You cannot possibly be listening to this without being a major contributor or follower on Twitter, because that's like a main part of not only us, but all the other alt news out there. So if you've seen somebody that you would think is a bot, you would know what they would be doing or saying. We've seen it a little bit with like the people that respond to the very, very top of Donald Trump. When he posts the at real Donald Trump.
A tweet, right.
When he tweets, like the first 5 responses are bots.
I cannot get in there.
Well, yeah, because you have to be a program to respond that quickly. And when you read it, you're kind of like, okay, that's fake. Like the guy who's been coming up first, it says, if you follow Donald Trump, follow me.
Right, I saw that. If you like Donald Trump, follow me. Right.
So I clicked on his profile. He has hundreds of tweets that are only that verbatim.
Word for word. I can't believe Twitter wouldn't do something about that as spam.
That's pretty shocking.
Yeah. Spammy.
Exact same tweet, always responding to Donald Trump, always at the top, always the same post. Exact the same tweet. So obviously he's a bot, but these bots aren't running around that I could see spreading propaganda. And there's only like 5 of them that do it on the real Donald Trump Twitter handle. Right. But anyway, so that right there is false, and we know it through anecdotal evidence. I mean, come on. You would know there's bots out there because you would see them and you'd be like, "Ooh, okay, all right, whatever." So the botnets. Next one, team of paid human quote trolls and network of websites and social media accounts. Now, first of all, paid human trolls. Nobody is getting paid. Let me tell you something about Bill Mitchell. He's like one of the most popular trolls on Twitter. He does not get paid a penny. I know him personally. He does not get paid. He literally does not get paid by anybody.
Well, think about it. If you paid a troll, you would literally be finding somebody like a comedian. I pay a comedian to tell jokes.
Okay.
Trolls aren't like that. Trolls are just inherently
their payment comes. Their payment
satisfaction.
Their payment comes in the form of getting people to respond with outrage. That's their payment,
right? And if you paid a troll, it would wind up being like the ones that we see the ads. And number 18 will shock you.
Yeah, right.
That's a paid troll. That's obvious. Paid trolls would be so obvious.
Okay, and the other one was network of websites and social media accounts. That would be like Amy Moreno. She's the one that runs TruthFeed.
Right.
She runs TruthFeed, and she is definitely a troll. She's very effective. But, I mean, that's about the only thing that I've read so far in this entire article that probably has some truth to it. Social media accounts. Echoed and amplified right-wing sites across the internet as they portrayed Clinton as a criminal. By the way, she's not a criminal because they portrayed him that way. She's a criminal because of her criminal activity.
Right. Okay? Her behavior and what she has done warrants jail time or prison.
Which makes her a criminal. So portray Clinton as a criminal hiding potentially fatal health problems. and preparing to hand control the nation to a shadowy cabal of global financiers. Okay, WikiLeaks proved that.
Yeah, that's a fact. And colluding with local new MSM, all the mainstream media, she colluded with all of them throughout the entire campaign.
Now, who was the one that really pushed and broke open the Clinton health hashtag?
Mike Cernovich.
Mike Cernovich.
Yeah.
Mike Cernovich, when he first came out with it, I was like, really? I mean, well, guess what? He was proven right after he pushed it with her falling out on 9/11.
Yes. Well, if he had seen earlier in the years past with her, I think she had a spell, an episode a few years back.
Well, remember when she would like do the head jerky thing?
Right.
And it would startle the reporters like,
yeah.
whoa, what's wrong with her? And then she would play it off like, yeah, I was just, reacting like all crazy like.
But she's a bot and she skipped a circuit.
Right. She definitely has a virus. So, and the shadowy cabal of global financiers, how much money did she receive from
George Soros?
Okay, there's George Soros, but also the Prince of Saudi Arabia.
Correct.
And it's all funneled through the Clinton, the whatever that crime.
There's a Clinton initiative and then a Clinton foundation.
Foundation, right. The foundation. This is all, we all know that people from other countries don't just hand Clinton or Clinton Foundation $29 million, which I believe is the number that the Saudi prince paid her, just out of the goodness of their heart.
Right.
And they would
have an agenda. They have an agenda.
And here's another thing. They're not complete idiots. They're not going to donate that and then hope that means that they get inside control. They would do it after it was agreed that if they do it, they would get inside control.
Correct.
I mean, this is just common sense. All right. Okay. Moving on. The effort also sought to heighten the appearance of international tensions and promote fear of looming hostilities with nuclear-armed Russia. Okay, so isn't that might be, okay, so they're saying that there is no international tensions, that these efforts by these trolls sought to heighten the appearance of international tensions. Not that it was real. Well, who was heightening international tensions with Russia? It was the lefties.
Yeah, the lefties. And when she was Secretary of State, she received, Bill Clinton received $500,000 for a fake speech and some other money totaling about $2.3 million to the Clinton Foundation from Russia for the sale of 20% of America's uranium.
Right.
That's a fact.
Well,
she's in bed with Russia.
Yeah, but it sounds to me like
the right.
It sounds to me like this is what I thought they were doing. I think they were drumming up a fake. I'm talking about the Democrats. The Democrats drummed up fake tensions with Russia in order to be able to steer the narrative, pivot the narrative to, do we want somebody with the temperament of Donald Trump to be president when we could possibly have a nuclear exchange with Russia? That's what I believe. And I've stated that on the show before. It was weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago.
Right.
I felt like that's what they were doing. Here's the problem. Russia wasn't sure what was real. And so Putin was like, whoa, we got a crisis here. He doesn't want war with us, but he was worried.
He certainly doesn't want nuclear war.
Right, and he was worried that this crap that the Democrats was trying to pull with tensions with Russia might possibly be real and not just a fake news, a fake narrative to get the voting public to worry about voting for Trump. Meanwhile, Trump destroyed that narrative by saying, vote for me because I like Russia and I like Putin and I don't want to have war with them and I don't think the American people want to have war with them. If you want war, vote for Hillary because it sounds to me like she's drumming it up. And everybody believed that narrative, which is actually, there's a little bit of falsehood to that. The falsehood is that Trump made people believe that she actually wants tension with Russia, when maybe she was only doing it to create her own narrative against Trump.
So it backfired. Well,
It did.
Jill Stein was on air, on video, it's on YouTube, saying that Hillary Clinton will cause World War III and a nuclear war. Jill Stein, during the campaign.
Well, there you go. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. So this is a fake statement here. The effort by the right and these right wing websites sought to heighten the appearance of international. No, we didn't seek to heighten the appearance of international tensions. We were seeking to let people know the truth, which is what I just said. What I just said about why the Democrats were doing what they did and why Trump came out and said what he said was, we just want to get the truth to you. The appearance of international tensions came from the Democrat Party. And only Trump was the one that came out and said, hey, you elect me and we're going to have peace with Russia.
Right. Right.
And Russia,
agreed.
They cheered. Not only did all of Russia cheer when Donald Trump got elected, and not for the reason that Democrats tell you.
Well, CNN told me that that Putin got all those emails for Trump.
Right, of course, right. That's totally fake, which I think it may even be mentioned here. So moving on, 2 teams of independent researchers found that the Russians exploited American-made technology platforms to attack U.S. democracy at a particularly vulnerable moment. As an insurgent candidate, harnessed a wide range of grievances to claim the White House. That's how he claimed the White House. By
I feel those grievances. Do those grievances come in
harnessing a wide range of grievances? Oh my gosh.
It's a breakfast of champions. It's called liberal tears.
This next sentence is key. The sophistication of the Russian tactics may complicate efforts by Facebook and Google to crack down on, quote, fake news, unquote, as they have vowed to do after widespread complaints about the problem. By the way, nobody was complaining that the alt-right or the right-wing or the new media or alt-media or any of those sites were fake news. Nobody was complaining about that. The only complaints came from the lies, or the only complaints came in response to the lies by the mainstream media. Google and Facebook are part of that. And they were ordered, they were begged by the mainstream media to crack down on true media.
Well, they probably gave Zuckerberg a call and said, hey, buddy, I know you've been donating money to us, the Democrat Party. I know that. Here's what we'd like for you to do, maybe in lieu of or in addition to your donations.
Right.
Just do a little bit of this, and this. Just get a little bit.
You know what I would have said? I would have said, I know you donated a lot of money. And I know the reason you donated so much money is because you really want to help our cause. But you know what's even better than money? What's better than money is for you to crack down on these alt-right or new media.
Because it's fake.
Real media. I need these people that are daring to tell the truth. You need to start helping us label them fake news so that we can then go after them. Which, by the way, how on God's green earth is that not a slap in the face to our First Amendment?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Well, Google's in bed with them, too.
By the way, so far I haven't heard any evidence. Moving on.
Oh, okay.
There is no way to know whether the Russian campaign, false premise, by the way, false premise, proved decisive in electing Trump. But researchers, who are these researchers? Who are these people?
They're already saying, they're putting it in your head that there is a Russian campaign. It is factual.
They haven't
by stating that, they're saying it's true.
But researchers, by the way, they aren't stated who they are.
They don't have a list of maybe an addendum or the footnote.
Just researchers. Researchers portray it as a part of a broadly effective strategy. By the way, why'd they need to throw that in there? They're just throwing words in there now. A part of a broadly effective strategy of sowing distrust in U.S. democracy and its leaders. What is that?
It's called filler. It's like pie filling.
No. The last part is not filler. This is very revealing. Sowing distrust in U.S. democracy and its leaders. Who's leading this? Who are they talking about leading democracy? And who are we distrusting? And why should we be distrusting them? They're talking about the establishment.
Right.
They're saying that we shouldn't distrust the establishment, but they've been sowing distrust in the establishment. And they say distrust in democracy. I mean, come on. The fact that we know it is a fact and proven fact that voter fraud was a major problem, and we still overcame it.
They said over 3 million illegals voted, all for Hillary.
And the only reason that it didn't steal the election for them was because they were all in the same state.
Yes.
Dummies. All right. The tactics included penetrating the computers of election officials in several states, releasing troves of hacked emails that embarrassed Clinton in the final months of her campaign. Let me just, I'll just go ahead and sum that whole entire wordy sentence into one website. WikiLeaks.
That's it. Done.
WikiLeaks. So the tactics, I'm going to repeat this. The tactics included penetrating the computers of elected officials. Now, the tactics they're talking about it being a Russian campaign. The Russian campaign included penetrating computers. So they're lying. This is fake news.
They completely made it up, and there are no sources. Are there any sources?
No, not yet. And here we go. Check this out. Releasing troves of hacked emails that embarrassed Clinton. Excuse me. Releasing the hacked emails didn't embarrass Clinton. The emails that they wrote, the DNC, Clinton herself, and all of her little minions that were emailing each other, that's what embarrassed her. The fact that they had come to light.
Well, that and that she deleted 33,000 of them that we now know is on Anthony Weiner's laptop. That's an embarrassment. That's a huge embarrassment.
Yeah.
Not only that, but Donna Brazier and the collusion with CNN and the DNC. That's
Which
an embarrassment.
She lied her ass off about.
John
Finally got
Podesta.
busted.
John Podesta,
Oh
all
my
his
God.
emails.
And the pedophilia.
The spirit cooking and the pedophilia.
Spirit cooking and that Pizzagate thing. Oh my. Dude, that Pizzagate thing, you can put everything else to bed. That Pizzagate thing should send everybody to, honestly, probably lethal injection.
Well, you talk about draining the swamp. We really are talking about the most evil of evil.
Oh my gosh. I thought some of the other stuff was evil. And if you ever want to know why they're so cavalier about killing babies with the Roe v. Wade, read up on Pizzagate and you'll see why killing is so second nature to them. Okay.
Because they do it so often.
Yeah, so that was them. The emails were them. The fact that we learned about them isn't what sunk her campaign. I mean, yeah, sure, if they remain secret. But the problem was that they were conducting themselves in this manner. All right, quote, they want to essentially erode faith in the U.S. government or U.S. government interests, said Clint Watts, a fellow at the Foreign Policy Research Institute. So their first bit of evidence is an opinion by a guy at a really interesting or a very official sounding institute.
Well, it's got the word institute.
Yeah.
So that must be.
Oh, and it has research and foreign and policy in it. I mean, those are
all
words.
big words.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who, along with two other researchers,
Okay.
who remain unnamed.
What? He's got two people working with him, and there's no names.
Yeah, has tracked Russian propaganda since when do you think? How long have they been tracking Russian propaganda? I mean, they've been doing it
year
since
and a half, maybe.
Oh, I thought you were going to say since like the
90s.
70s.
Oh,
well, I mean, the propaganda.
Well, I slipped on the awesome sauce, and I thought that this is a paid institution for Hillary. So that's why they've been tracking for a year and a half. But for the article, yeah, lend them credibility. They've been tracking this for decades.
Oh, Russian propaganda really truly goes back to the revolution, 1917.
Oh, yeah.
That's when the propaganda started actually probably before that. But anyway.
The Kaiser.
2014 is how long they've been tracking this. Right.
Well, then that goes with what I was saying. They
right.
messed up in the article.
You were right.
They should have said in the article 1917 or 1914.
Right. So, quote, this was their standard mode during the Cold War. How would you know? You've only been tracking this since 2014.
Dude, the article just busted itself.
I know. Quote, the problem is that this was hard to do before social media. That's actually true. Getting the truth out was hard to do before social media.
We have been able. Well, look at this. Look at this. Smith Radio has been able to give you this news and expose all this stuff because of social media.
Right. Watts' report on this work with colleagues. Here's the two names, or maybe two. I don't know. Andrew Weisberg and J.M. Berger appeared on the National Security Online magazine War on the Rocks this month under the headline "Trolling for Trump: How Russia is Trying to Destroy Our Democracy." Let me tell you something. There is nothing that is a bigger threat to democracy than what we saw the Democrat National Committee pull this year with Debbie Wasserman Schultz, with the old girl that you just mentioned who lied about colluding with the debates, gave the answers to
Weisberg. Andrew Weisberg.
Oh yeah, Andrew Weisberg. No, Bird with a D. Weisburd. Anyway. So another group called Prop or Not, a nonpartisan collection of researchers with foreign policy, military, and technology backgrounds, plan to release its own findings Friday, which was 2 days ago, showing the startling research and effectiveness of Russian propaganda campaigns. So the effectiveness, the sophistication, and all this stuff isn't really shown here in this article, but they include descriptions of it to do what I call muddy the water.
The Weisberg guy?
Weisberg.
It sounded familiar when you said it.
Yeah.
You Google his name, and his book comes up, War on the Rocks. Mm-hmm. The second link, very second link, he's a contributor to the Daily Beast.
Oh, the Daily Beast is fake news.
So they're ordering up this fake story with fake facts from a guy who's a contributor on the Daily Beast. That's a fake.
It's all incestuous.
It's all fake.
It's all incestuous.
Fake.
They're fake. The sources are fake. So it goes on to say the researchers, the guys that we're talking about, by researchers we mean fake liars.
The Daily Beast.
Right. The Daily Beast check this out. They use internet analytics tools to trace the origins of particular tweets and mapped the connections along social media accounts that consistently delivered synchronized messages. Let me tell you something. I have been on Twitter probably 10 hours a day for the past year. They're synchronized messages. You got retweets. Yes. You got people kind of giving their opinions on articles that have come out from the day. Synchronized messages doesn't happen. It absolutely it didn't happen with the Cruz crew. It didn't happen with any Trump supporters, the hashtag Trumpsters and all that stuff. Did not happen.
If we could have synced up tweets, certainly we would.
I don't know of anybody who was a central rallying point for giving out information on synchronizing any tweets.
Oh, the synchronization of the media comes from the New York Times.
Yeah.
Now that is synchronized.
Right, that's true. And the left is very good at synchronizing. Remember Dark?
Yes.
The day they can, and there's a million of them. If you know what Rush Limbaugh does that I really think is awesome. Whenever synchronization of news comes out, his crack team of researchers,
they are amazing.
They make a montage.
Yes.
And they'll hit every single mainstream media outlet and they'll play the clip where they use the buzzword or the buzz phrase or the sentence, and it'll be verbatim. And then he'll follow up with this rhetorical question. Who told him to say this? This is not, you can't have a dozen or more people use the same phraseology. It's just not possible.
Gravitas.
Yeah.
It was one of the famous words. It's a word we don't use in our language
not
normally.
Much. Not any.
It's like me saying, Carrie, you really got some moxie there, baby. We don't use moxie.
Not usually.
Not usually. But that was the one that struck me as hysterical that the mainstream media, New York Times, had used gravitas. And so when they cue the card, gravitas, then they all say gravitas.
Honestly, I think it comes from emails from the DNC. I think they say, okay, today's word is dark. and then they go, and then their editors will tell all of their writers, you've got to use the key word as many times as possible, but at least once. And it has to be in a key sentence in your article. And so that week, every single news person, either in print or on TV, had come out with the dark word to describe Donald Trump's speech that week. And it was ridiculous. It just sounded nobody calls. They were using the word dark in context that felt like it was forced. Like it didn't even flow right. It was like they originally didn't use the word dark, and then the editor said, "No, take it back. I want the word dark in here." Rewrite it, and then he comes back and he's like, "All right, I jammed it in there. Dark's in there. Dark's in there." There was one article I read, or maybe Rush read it on air, I can't remember, that used dark like 6 times in one article. It was ridiculous. So anyway, that's where the synchronized messages come from. So they identify website codes, sometimes revealed common ownership. You know what this is? This is anecdotal. You will, if you know where to look and know how to look, you will find messages that may have the same kind of, the same language, and also common ownership. I think I own 4 Twitter handles. 5. 3 of which are not used at all. I don't use them. I got them, and then I ended up not using them. Right? I mean, it's possible I could go around and tweet on all of them. I have 2 that I do use that are for 2 different things. One's for politics, the other one's for sports. And so you can find these. I guarantee you, Brian, how many Twitter handles have you started? Like a bunch, haven't you?
Yeah, back in the day when Twitter came out.
You were like getting a whole bunch of them.
I had a whole bunch. At one time, I had, I think, 23 Facebook accounts.
Oh my goodness! Don't let Mark Zuckerberg hear about that.
We used back when it first started. You could use that for advertising and selling purpose. But it don't work now.
Right. Okay, so that being said, this is anecdotal evidence that could easily be verified, but it doesn't mean anything. That's my point. What they're saying means nothing. In other cases, okay. All right. Prop or Not's monitoring report, which was provided to the Washington Post in advance of its public release, identifies more than 200 websites as routine peddlers of Russian propaganda. They never explain how they know when somebody releases something that it's Russian propaganda.
And is that an opinion that you think it's Russian propaganda? I mean,
it's circular logic. When they hear something that's against Hillary, they assume it's Russian propaganda. Right. So when they see somebody tweet it, they're saying, "Oh, they must have got that from Russian propaganda." It's complete circular logic.
So you said 200 websites? That article says 200 websites?
200 websites as routine peddlers of Russian propaganda during the election season.
They got a link to those 200? Do they list them?
They don't even have it highlighted as a link that you can click on. No.
Oh, my goodness.
With combined audiences of at least 15 million Americans. On Facebook, Prop or Not estimates that stories planted or promoted by the disinformation campaign were viewed by more than 213 million times. So I'm going to tell you a little secret, and you guys know this. On Twitter, if you do your analytics and stuff like that, the only people that could rack up as much as 213 million views on any kind of social media are real people working their tail off. Period.
Or they spent a godload of money.
Well, that's what they may be saying then.
Well, if you go to the dark underworld, if you go to the what is it? Oh, Fiverr. You go to Fiverr and type in there. Back, you used to be able to type in and buy all kinds of stuff. You could buy likes, you buy shares, you buy retweets. You could buy all that stuff, but a lot of it's been cut out. And now Twitter and Facebook and YouTube have also put into place. I guess you want to call them like stops, to where if they see something coming from a specific, like Indonesia is liking this article on Facebook from America 300,000 times, then we've got a problem. So that doesn't really work anymore. But before, you could buy all this fake stuff.
Well, the reason I say that it has to be real is because people generally, in order to get hundreds of millions, which is what they're talking about here, hundreds of millions, there has to be a viral component to it. And nobody is sharing and retweeting like a bot tweet or just some random propaganda message. It's just not happening. It has to have something worth retweeting.
Yeah, like if you look at Frank Luntz's Twitter account, I mean, he obviously is a bot for Hillary, and you can tell his tweets are not retweeted very often.
Right. Same thing with Glenn Beck.
That's the other one. Poor Glenn.
He has he has 1 million followers.
Yes.
And he whenever he tweets, he gets anywhere from 30 to 50 retweets.
I know. It's almost unfathomable. It's unbelievable.
So you know what that proves, don't you? That it's more likely for somebody to just ignore you and not unfollow you than to just cut out the middleman and unfollow you. Because he still has 1 million followers.
Right. He still has all those
but
followers.
Nobody's listening to him.
So, yeah, 1.1 million followers. And
you're on Twitter right now. Does
he posted CNN anchor cries after guest says the N-word. I don't know if you heard about that last week. And that has 40.
There's another N-word video. Don Lemon said the N-word.
He dropped it too.
And his guest freaked out.
Wow.
We'll play
that
for you.
48 likes, 32 reshares, retweets, and also his Thanksgiving Day post. What's your favorite Thanksgiving Day dish? Hashtag getting hungry. Turkey, pie, green beans, or stuffing. 34 retweets. that was on the 23rd. That was on the 23rd.
I'm starting to think that he has bots that just retweet whatever he tweets. And so nobody's retweeting. Nobody's following him.
Yeah, unless he's paying the bots.
I think he's hemorrhaging money. He'll be moving out of his Texas compound here soon.
Pretty soon.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. So, Russian campaign during the election season. Research groups say harness the world's. Oh, here we go. The Russian campaign during the election season. Researchers from both groups say that worked by harnessing the online world's fascination with, quote, buzzy content. Content that is surprising and exponentially potent. Dude, they're using our words now.
Wow.
Exponentially potent. And tracks with popular conspiracy theories about how secret forces dictate world events. You know what they're doing here, don't you? They're making fun of people that... I mean, we're talking about shadow governments and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean... That's why we got Trump in there because...
Well, shadow banning.
Yeah, that's real.
That's absolutely real.
Well, there's this conspiracy that there's the real government, which is what we see and we vote on.
Right.
And then there's the real government.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a shadow government.
The strings that are pulled from the...
Right.
The powers that be.
There would have to be evidence for that to be real.
So you don't believe in the Illuminati? And how they killed Michael Jackson?
It wouldn't surprise me if it was on the Democrat side.
What about that kid that put the bag over his head, said, "I'm not famous anymore"?
Huh?
Yeah, the actor for in Transformers, the younger guy that became like a sensation almost immediately.
Okay.
The reports are that the Illuminati got to him and said, "You must play ball." And so he went out for his award or did something, made a public appearance with a brown paper bag over his head and he wrote on it, said, "Not famous."
Okay.
And from that day forward, he's never done another movie.
Well, there you go.
Illuminati people.
Some of these stories originated with Russia Today and Sputnik, which I never even heard of. I know what Sputnik is, the satellite, but...
I was going to say, isn't it a satellite?
Yeah, well, apparently it's some sort of a news outlet. state-funded Russian information services that mimic the style and tone of independent news organizations. So they're saying, like, people like InfoWars, they're not real. They're just a state-funded Russian information. They're saying Russia Today is like that. Yet sometimes include false and misleading stories in their reports. The researchers say, well, thank you for saying that. Because if you didn't say that, then we wouldn't have heard it. And if we didn't hear it, then we wouldn't have our head full of false information. On other occasions, Russia Today, Sputnik, and other Russian sites used social media accounts to amplify misleading stories already circulating online, causing news algorithms to identify them as trending topics that sometimes prompted coverage from mainstream American. So they're accusing this crazy system that they're trying to describe here as being the reason that trending topics occurred on Twitter that were not very Hillary friendly. In fact, we've been reporting this forever. Twitter has been shadow banning trending topics that are anti-Hillary or against Hillary or whatnot, and promoting trending topics that aren't trending at all. They're getting marching orders from DNC. What I mean by that is they'll say something like, Hillary or Clinton won after the debate. All of a sudden, that'll be trending the very top of Twitter.
It is shocking how some of the things that we were trending all of a sudden would either disappear or stop trending.
Absolutely.
And then instantly come back somehow.
Well, it would come back under a different spelling. It would be misspelled.
Dude, they did that to me all the time.
Yeah, it would come back as a different spelling. That way, what it does is, if you had a one tag that was trending and that was it, you could focus the trend on one trending tag. But if, as Jack Dorsey, the Twitter CEO, if I can dissipate the trend by causing 3 or 4 different hashtags to trend on one topic. So I'll give you an example. This is kind of unfortunate.
This is a real example. Hillary's health.
Yeah, Hillary health and Hillary's health.
The S would drop off.
Yep.
Like, nobody's doing that.
Oh, the other one that was even bigger than that was WikiLeaks and WikiLeak.
Oh, yes.
They dropped the S off of it. And you know what they would do? They would go back and forth every day. Every other day it'd be WikiLeaks, and on the off days it would be WikiLeaks.
To slow the trending of WikiLeaks.
But like, some of it's unfortunately true, but it's just unfortunate. Like, for example, instead of saying Hillary won after the debates, there could also be a trending hashtag called Clinton won.
Right.
And so that kind of unfortunately dissipates it. Trump, on the other hand, not very many people just called him Donald.
It was Trump has always been trending. Trump wins.
Right.
Well, they would do that to me too. Trump won would trend, and then all of a sudden Trump W, and it Trump wins. Like, they would change it on and off. I'm like, no. We all know he won, so Trump won.
Right. So this is easily manipulated by Jack Dorsey and his minions.
By the way, Sputnik on Twitter, go to @Sputnik INT, which is international, and that's what this article might be talking about. It says, we exist to tell the stories that aren't being told. Sputnik.
Okay.
Is that maybe? No.
I mean, that's what they're talking about. The speed of the coordination of these efforts allowed Russian-backed phony. Who is backing? Is anybody getting paid for this?
I don't know. Where's the money coming from?
If Russia is backing phony news, and by phony, I'm using their definition of phony, which is real news like us, is there a number we can call and ask for some money? That'd be nice.
Yeah, I'd like a piece of the action.
Yeah, and there's a lot of colleagues of mine in this business. They're doing exactly what I'm doing, that are doing this for absolutely nothing. Anyway, allow Russian-backed phony news to outcompete traditional news, i.e. fake news.
Nice.
Organizations for audience. Some of the first and most alarming tweets after Clinton fell ill at a September 11th memorial event in New York, for example, came from Russian botnets and trolls, researchers found. That is a completely made-up statement. Some of the first and most alarming tweets after Clinton fell ill Aren't they also undermining their earlier
They just said she fell ill. They just said she's got health problems.
Yeah, but earlier in the same article,
No health problems?
they said that was part of fake news.
Well, they accidentally slipped on the banana peel once again.
They slipped on awesome sauce big time there. That is funny. Wow. So she did fall ill. And that was a fake false statement there. Russian botnets and trolls were the ones who were the first and most alarming tweets. And by the way, if it's true, then what does it matter who was tweeting it? I think that they're saying that Mike Cernovich is a botnet from Russia, paid for.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, the guy I was telling you about that got the actor put the bag on his head? LeBouf. LABEO.
Oh, I think we talked about him. Yeah, we talked about him. This followed a spate of other misleading stories in August about Clinton's supposedly troubled health. You just said she has troubled health.
They said she's sick, and now supposedly she's sick.
Oh, check this out. Circular logic again. The Daily Beast debunked a particularly wide... First of all, the Daily Beast is completely fake.
They don't debunk anything. They actually prop up propaganda.
If they came out with a debunking, I would use the fact that it came from the Daily Beast to debunk their debunking.
Correct.
I would say,
Correct.
oh, the Daily Beast, thank you for coming out with a debunking article, because now we know it's real. Okay,
right.
So they debunked a particularly widely read piece in the article that reached 1,700 Facebook accounts and was read online more than 30,000 times. By the way, they don't say what piece that was, but Prop or Not researchers found that the version supported by Russian propaganda reached 90,000 Facebook accounts and was read by more than 8 million times. The researchers said the true Daily Beast story was like, quote, shouting into a hurricane of false stories supported by the Russians. This is
insanity. This is absolute insanity
ever. By the way, this is why what I'm reading to you, the outrage that you're probably feeling right now, listen to me read this, is why I've been blowing this up all week on Twitter. Anybody who dare, and I will keep this article, because anybody who ever cites Washington Post for anything ever again will be quickly linked to this article, because this ruined. They are the Onion now. They are the Onion. Period.
It's a joke of jokesters. Not only that, but CNN was also propping this same theory up this week.
The Russian propaganda.
Yes. CNN propping up the Russian propaganda.
Oh, listen to this. This propaganda machinery also helped push the phony story that an anti-Trump protester was paid thousands of dollars to participate in demonstrations, an allegation totally made by a self-described satirist and later repeated publicly by the Trump campaign. Okay, here's the thing. There were actual Craigslist ads looking for fighters
It's a fact.
to go and start riots and fights with Trump people during the primaries in Chicago and San Jose. And guess what? Not only was there actual fighters there. Look at what happened in San Jose. There were people that were chasing down completely innocent people just to take swings at them.
Right.
There were people sucker punching people. It was weird.
And WikiLeaks backed all this up
Yep.
with emails showing that it's true.
The emails prove that's true. So that absolutely debunks that entire statement. 100% fake. Researchers from both groups traced a variety of other false stories. Fake reports of a coup launched at Incirlik Air Base in Turkey. What?
Incirlik, Turkey.
Oh,
yeah.
So the C is sound. Okay. Incirlik. The fake reports of a coup launched at Incirlik Base in Turkey. Was that real or fake?
There's an Air Force base there that we would fly sorties over there.
But there was a coup attempt in Turkey.
No.
We reported on it.
Oh, the coup attempt in Turkey. I didn't know there was a coup attempt at the base. What are they saying about the base?
It just says a coup launched at Incirlik Air Base in Turkey. It says it was fake.
No, we watched it we watched a coup attempt on the news.
It was trending it was being tweeted and like crazy from Turkey at the time.
Oh, this is why they're saying that. It's because the generals got involved. The Turkish generals, and some really high up folks involved there on the base in Incirlik, helped to throw this coup, to take over the government. And they're
saying it's fake.
Well, but the generals came out and said, we're doing this on purpose because we want to preserve our freedom.
Okay.
In Turkey.
Okay.
And we're being taken, the whole country's being stolen from the people.
But they're saying it was fake.
Really? There were a lot of people died and a lot of people got jailed. And Turkish president said, we're rounding up all these people, news media people, anybody involved. They jailed hundreds of people.
Remember all the people surrendering on the bridge?
Yes. Oh, that was. I used that picture for one of our the show we did when we talked about the coup.
They're saying that we're fake because we reported that. Oh my God. And stories about how the United States was going to conduct a military attack and blame it on Russia to Russian propaganda efforts. I don't know anything about that story.
It's pure insanity.
Yeah. The final weeks of the campaign featured a heavy dose of stories about supposed election irregularities, allegations of vote rigging, and the potential for election day violence should Clinton win, researchers say. Well, we know that there's election irregularities. Oh, yeah. There's allegations of vote rigging. I'm here to say that vote rigging isn't an allegation. That's a fact. You know?
We knew there were 3 million, at least 3 million illegals voted in our election, which is I mean, it's against everything we stand for. Why would you want foreign people voting in your election? Yeah.
Deciding who our president's going to be. And then they come out, not our president. No, it's not your president. And you shouldn't have been freaking voting.
Right.
Anyway, quote, the way this propaganda apparatus supported Trump was equivalent to some massive amount of media buy, said the executive director of Prop or Not. So they were getting free ads because we were reporting on them.
Okay.
He spoke on a condition of anonymity.
Of course he did, because if he gave his name, then it would give the story away.
No, to avoid being targeted by Russia's legions of skilled hackers.
Dude, somebody is paranoid like ain't nobody's business.
Quote, it was like Russia was running a super PAC for the Trump's campaign. And it worked. Let me tell you something about Russia. Edward Snowden had to go there for asylum during the Obama administration.
Right.
What does that tell you? What does that tell you? I mean, they're worried about targeting. I mean, I think it was an inside job. Edward Snowden released, 90,000 top secret documents to the world, to WikiLeaks, and pretty much got WikiLeaks started. Without Edward Snowden, there would be no WikiLeaks, right?
Correct.
That's an inside job. He was an American.
Right.
He's not a foreigner.
He was an American working for the government.
Under the Obama administration, and he said, I can't take this anymore. I need to let somebody know.
Correct.
Yeah, I think Trump needs to negotiate a return of him for a slap on the wrist. I'm not saying he should be completely pardoned and get away scot-free. I think he should get a little slap on the wrist, and I think that he would be willing to do something because I don't think he wants to be outside of America.
No, of course not. His family, everything's here. He's an American. So they're saying he's not an American, he's foreign.
No, they're saying that they're lying. They're not even, there's no part of this article that has any basis in fact. The whole thing is totally onion. I can't believe it's still on their website. I'm waiting for him to bring this down. He and other researchers expressed concern that the U.S. government has few tools for detecting and combating foreign propaganda. They're literally trying to paint us as foreign propaganda so that they could detect and combat us. They expressed hope. Wow. Well, you know what? It's going to be drone attacks on American citizens soon. They expressed hope that their research detailing the power of Russian propaganda would spur official action. Oh, thank you, big government, for droning us. That would be awesome. A former U.S. ambassador to Russia, Michael A. McFaul, you might want to look him up. He's probably a complete DNC hack. It's MCFAUL. Said he was struck by the overt support that Sputnik expressed for Trump during the campaign, even using the hashtag Crooked Hillary hashtag. That was redundant, wasn't it?
Right.
They actually put a hashtag in here and then called it a hashtag. That's a little redundant. Pushed by the candidate. Well, yeah, the whole world wants Trump. It's not just Russia. How many countries? There are people in South Africa who are cheering that Trump got elected.
Well, Obama voted for Trump.
All the people that voted for Brexit, they're all really...
And I did a little facetious. It was Obama's brother.
Oh, right.
Voted for Trump.
Obama's brother, right. So, yeah. No, there's people all over the world. And the reason is because America is the last bastion of freedom in the world, and we lose it, and humanity loses the hope for liberty.
Oh,
there are
absolutely.
people living in oppression right now that have no hope of ever coming to America.
Hundreds of millions of people around the world are living in slavery. Not America. There's no slavery here. America's fought slavery to end it. The rest of the world is. That's why we have to. We had to have Trump to do this.
The
revolution.
Union, they say the Soviet Union fell because we were allowing or helping black market videos of movies and music, especially.
Oh yeah,
into Soviet Union, and the young kids.
They wanted it.
The young kids were like, "Oh my gosh, we need to totally, be down with America. This place is awesome." And then the Berlin Wall fell, and then shortly after that, Soviet Union was abolished. It was mainly because the youngsters were like, "Why do we have to live like this?"
No, it was because of denim.
Denim?
Blue jeans.
Really?
Dude, when I was in early 90s, when I was overseas, if you bought blue jeans at the base exchange for $20-$30, you could sell them on the market for $100-$150.
That is so weird. They wanted the blue jeans.
They wanted American blue jeans because they weren't allowed to have them.
Why?
American blue jeans. They just couldn't get them.
Because they didn't make them there, I guess.
Ship them.
I thought all these jeans and stuff were made in Taiwan or China.
China.
Huge.
China is huge.
Right. So anyway, McFaul said Russian propaganda typically is aimed at weakening opponents and critics. Trump's victory, though, reportedly celebrated by Putin and his allies in Moscow, may have been an unexpected benefit of an operation that already had fueled division in the United States. Quote, "They don't try to win the argument," said McFaul, now director of the Freeman Spogli Institute for International Studies at Stanford University.
That's big news. The more letters that are in your title, the bigger the person you are.
He is the director of the Freeman Spogli Institute for International Studies at Stanford University.
Could you imagine his plaque with his name and the title on it? It'd be like 2 feet long.
The acronym is FSISU.
Right.
Quote, it's to make everything seem relative. It's kind of an appeal to cynicism. You've made me the most cynical person alive. Why? Because all the conspiracy theories turn out to be damn true.
Right, every single one of them.
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. The Kremlin has repeatedly denied interfering with the U.S. You know why? Because they didn't!
No. Well,
the only people lying here is the mainstream media.
Right. And like I said, CNN was blasting Trump and Nigel.
Yeah.
Nigel. for being paid for and uniting right-wingers around the world, paid for by Russia.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, the U.S. election are hacking into the... So they've repeatedly denied hacking into the accounts of election officials. This is some sort of nonsense, says Dmitry Peskov, press secretary for Putin, said last month when U.S. officials accused Russia of penetrating the computers of DNC and other political
Yeah,
parties.
they said it was not true. And WikiLeaks also said we're not getting our stuff from Russia. Sorry.
Right. Well, I thought they just said we don't divulge our sources.
Well, they made the comment that they made it broad brush paint, but they admitted that it wasn't from Russia.
It was the guy that got shot in the back of the head on the lawn of the south lawn of the White House or something.
In D.C., broad daylight, walking down the street to go to a FBI inquiry.
Shot by a sniper, and
because
it was a robbery. He said he was robbed, but he didn't.
The father said nothing was taken from him.
They said he had his wallet on him still, his watch. He had a watch. His watch was still on.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Russia Today disputed the findings of the researchers in an email on Friday, saying it played no role in producing or amplifying any fake news stories related to the U.S. election. Quote, "It is the height of irony that an article about fake news is built on false, unsubstantiated claims. Russia Today adamantly rejects any and all claims and insinuations that the network has originated even a single fake story related to the U.S. election," wrote Anna Belkina, head of communications. That sounds about right. I mean, I every once in a while I watch Russia Today. Sometimes it's pro left-winger, sometimes it's just hard news. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I haven't really seen anything that makes me say, whoa, this Russia Today is terrible.
I've seen Russia Today will tweet. I follow them on Twitter, and they'll tweet out things that seem somewhat relevant. I kind of follow them because of international news.
But they don't come out. Like, propaganda is when you're just totally in the tank for a certain side.
I definitely would not say that Russia Today would be propaganda. Because they'll say bad things about both sides, right? They'll say bad about Trump, bad about Clinton.
I've seen that. The findings about the mechanics of Russia propaganda operations largely track previous research by the Rand Corporation and George Washington University's Elliott School of International Affairs. Quote, "They use our technologies and values against us to sow doubt," said Robert Utung. Yeah. So here's the problem. What values are you talking about? Yes, we are undermining your communist values. Yes, and Russia, they were communists for a long time. Like, what was it, 80 years or something like that? 70, about 80
long
years.
time, right.
73 years, something like that.
And it absolutely failed. It collapsed.
It was so devastating. And it took for us to show them what it's like to not be under communist rule for them to rise up and have a new revolution, overthrowing, I guess it was a peaceful revolution where they went from communism to free market capitalism. I think they're more free market than we are because they have flat tax. That was the first thing that I think they wrote it into their constitution or something that a flat tax was absolutely necessary. So that's funny that he says they use our values against us. It's starting to undermine our democratic system. There's nothing democratic about rigging elections, and that's what you've been proven to do, so I don't want to hear it.
It was the money bought and paid for by George Soros to drum up illegal votes, to drum up, to actually be tied. George Soros is tied to some of the companies that run the digital the voting booths. I mean, that's what the rigged election is. Yeah. And this CNN this CNN sound clip, listen to this guy. And then there's two guys in this sound clip. The first guy is Ron Brownstein, senior editor at The Atlantic. And the second guy is Josh Rogan, CNN political analysis and Washington Post editor. Yeah. So these two guys all in on the Russian reset or the Russian set. And then And then at the very end of this, you'll hear Ben Ferguson, who's a radio show host, just absolutely laugh at them for being an absolute joke.
People have to understand who Nigel Farage is. The UKIP party, and I have been to their headquarters in London, is widely considered an extremist party in the British system. It is widely accused of racism and xenophobia. Its campaign against Brexit was extremely polarizing and divisive, and it is so on the edge of British politics that today, out of the 650-member House of Commons, it has one seat out of 650. The idea of the Tory government appointing Nigel Farage as ambassador to the U.S. or kind of taking him into their council is absurd. I mean, this is someone who is on the edge of British politics, and for him to say that he has never heard Steve Bannon say anything extreme from where he stands, that may well be true. But
okay, so over there, they're bashing Nigel for standing up for Steve Bannon, and they're bashing him like they bash Trump or they bash conservatives.
He stands in a very different place than I think most Americans would be comfortable with.
Well, I did find it interesting that he's well, I mean, he knows Steve Bannon so well and talked to him throughout the primary campaign, Josh.
Well, that's not an accident. I agree with everything Ron said, but I would just add that this is part of a comprehensive strategy by Bannon to align the Trump administration with a series of far-right extremist populist parties throughout Europe, okay? Marine Le Pen, who is running for president of France for the National Front Party, another right-wing populist extremist party, said that Steve Bannon talked to her before he talked to the French guy.
I love how they say right-wing extremist party. Yes, folks, this is a worldwide revolution. People are waking up and they no longer want oppression, yet this guy is bashing conservatism and bashing freedom-loving individuals like you and me and bashing Bannon.
Government, okay? So what we're seeing is sort of a not-so-covert effort to realign American foreign policy. With all of these parties, we're engaged in an anti-European project, right? Probably funded with Russian money, okay? That's a real thing, and that's something...
Okay, he said probably Russian money, that's a real thing. This guy's from the Washington Post. This guy works for the same outlet that we just talked about in that article.
Russian money? No. Come on. Yeah, it's in the Panama Papers. Check it out. Google it, and it's in there. Okay?
You're saying Brexit was it? Hold on, wait, let's be clear. You're saying Brexit and what happened there with actual people in Britain who said they wanted to exit. You're saying we're duped by Russian money being funneled in and had nothing to do with their own ideas in the UK?
I love watching you come to the realization of the truth of the situation. Aaron Banks.
It's so far from the truth. It's absurdity. Even on Thanksgiving, I'm shocked.
I encourage viewers to Google it. Aaron Banks, the guy who comes with Nigel Farage to all of these meetings with Trump, who we never talk about. Look into his Panama Papers. Look into his finances.
Okay, we'll put that aside because I don't know the CNN reporting on this, so we'll put that.
Okay, and he said Trump, also with Trump, who we never talk about. What are you talking, dude? They are desperate to link to create a Russian link to Trump through Bannon and to Nigel and to Brexit. All of this to link to Russia, to take over the world. Boogeyman in the closet. It's coming. All your rights, all your freedom are going to be stolen by right-wing conservatives like Russia. What would Russia have? I cannot see Russia paying Nigel Farage for anything. He doesn't need it.
Well, I guess some sort of influence or I don't know.
But that's not who we are. Us right wing,
right? You make a
conservatives.
Good point there.
We have integrity, and we don't roll like we win elections fair and square because we can. We stand for principles.
But you have to be careful because then there's that establishment part, which are like the liberals that took over the GOP.
You're right.
You got the establishment, which they are corrupt.
Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan.
Mitch McConnell's a perfect example. These are people who. John Boehner, good example.
Marco Rubio.
Yeah, so basically,
for as much as you like Rubio, he took the money. And he did the wrong thing at one point in time.
Yeah, your
with
wife
the
likes
establishment.
him too.
He's
very well spoken. He was young. He's very good looking. All the above. There are people that said, "I just want to vote because I wanted to see more Rubio."
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So the problem is with establishment people is that they are the corrupt arm of the Republican Party. And I mean, totally corrupt from the core. And so, yeah, they would take money. That's what they do. That's their MO.
Right.
That question almost seems rhetorical to them.
And so this whole notion of blaming, this is the same blame game. There's nothing new here. There's nothing new whatsoever. It is the absolute same blame game to where they are actually physically doing something wrong, and they project it and blame conservatives for doing it because in reality, they're doing it. And they have no idea how Donald Trump literally landslided this election. They're beside themselves. They're so stricken with grief because they have no idea. And so the only thing they can point to is rigging of the system.
Right.
Of the voting system. And that was big this week, transitioning into Jill Stein and this recount of the 2016 vote. I tweeted out to Sean Hannity. He was talking about this before Thanksgiving. He was talking about the recount and all this and how much money was flowing to him. And I retweeted out the recount's going to show that Trump won all 50 states. keep recounting. Trump won all 50 states.
Wait, who
keep
said
recounting.
this?
Me, I did.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, I don't think he's going to win New York State, even though I did predict that he would.
Yeah. Wait, and
I'm not ashamed to admit it.
And here's the thing, folks. This is how Trump won the popular vote. And you're like, no, Brian, no. Hillary's got it by 1 million, 2 million votes. No, hold on. There are precincts across the country. Like, take Indiana, for example. Indiana was going to be all Trump. So there are tens of thousands of votes waiting to be counted, but the state fell for Trump anyways, and there's no need to count them. There's no need to spend the time and waste the energy to count all those tens of thousands of votes when Trump won Indiana. Similarly, with other states like Mississippi, Louisiana.
Right.
Louisiana, with our good buddy Steve Spell.
Mm-hmm. Right.
This is Trump country. This is all Trump.
Right.
So I promise you there are tens of thousands of votes that weren't counted.
Yeah, rural areas.
Not only that, but all those states all have out of country missing ballots. They have missing voters. They have people that voted absentee.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And military that are overseas.
And those people go overwhelmingly red.
Right. It is always that those votes are hugely for Republicans.
Yeah.
It's just a fact.
Right. 100%.
They don't count those votes.
Not 100%.
Right. They don't count those votes in the state of Indiana. They don't count those votes in the state of Louisiana.
Really?
There's no reason to. The state already won for Trump.
Yeah, but what if they made the argument that...
That's what Jill Stein's trying to do.
Every vote counts.
That's what Jill Stein and Hillary Clinton are trying to do.
That is the basis of your argument that Trump will win all 50 states.
Well, I didn't come up with this. It wasn't me.
It's pretty hilarious, though, because it's true that stuff...
Yeah, I did come up. He would take all 50 states.
Right.
If you want to go popular, vote Hillary. We'll go 1 for 1.
Let's go the whole entire country.
And you got to rip out the illegals. That's 3 million right there.
We need to do it like Jim Condit Jr. said. We need to have them all counted before they leave the room.
With average citizens sitting there to watch over.
Right. He even said stream it.
Oh, yeah, stream it live on the internet. Absolutely.
That way, now the question becomes this. What would you do if it shows on live screen that a box of ballots was taken out and then taken back in? Like, we accidentally took these outside, but we took them back in.
Well, you got some problems.
What would you do?
Blow a whistle.
And then what?
I should get a firing squad together.
Like all the votes in that box don't count?
Right. Well, they're trying to do that in Michigan right now. They're saying Michigan is the dates, folks, at the end of the month, I believe the last day to file all this money, millions and millions of dollars to call for a recount. The last day for all these states, I believe, is this coming Wednesday. And it'll be over with. If they extend those dates, then obviously we got a rigged system. But the dates are to the end of the month, and then that's it. Need millions of dollars to do this. In Michigan, Trump won by 10,000 votes.
Okay.
It's narrow. Don't get me wrong. I think they said there were 3 million cast, 1.5 million each person, and he won by 10,000. Folks, Michigan already said, hey, that's it.
Right.
This is official.
Paper ballots. They counted physical paper. It's over. There's no hacking of anything.
And Trump won the presidency. He's standing right now, the Electoral College, standing at 306, I believe. You need 270 to win.
Well, how many of the states do they need to steal in order to get the electoral votes?
Well, she's only got like 230. They need to steal a handful of states.
Quite a few.
They need a couple of them.
Well, I know Pennsylvania was close. Wisconsin, maybe. I don't know. Was that even close?
They're claiming it was close.
And Pennsylvania has a lot of electoral college votes. And are they currently doing Florida? Because Florida has a lot.
I think they gave up on that.
More hanging chads.
Yeah, there wasn't enough evidence to warrant all the money. So here by the numbers. Wisconsin, by November 25th, that's the last day to file. That's the deadline. And the filing fees, the cost to file, $1.1 million.
And where does that money go?
That goes to the state for filing fees.
Filing fees?
Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
$500,000 by November 28th. So that's 28. And the last day, Michigan, $600,000 by November 30th. And this was all on Jill Stein's website where she posted all this. And our good friend and yours, Tyler Durden, at zerohedge.com, Tyler Durden, he wrote about this and he took screenshots of her website and reposted it. She initially, Jill Stein initially wanted to raise $2.5 million. Then she upped it to $4.5 million because they reached that goal. And now she just recently upped it again. She said, no. I mean, we need $7 million. Jill Stein right now on this recount has raised $4.5 million.
Why so much? Now, presumably,
who are the backers? Who's funding this?
Well,
that's the question.
Well, there's Democrats.
They're claiming it's grassroots.
Well, there's going to be disgruntled Hillary supporters who would give $100 here, $10 there, $5, whatever.
Right.
And there'd be hundreds of thousands of them or whatever. So that could add up, possibly. Or there could be rich backers, too. Could have some Wall Street guy that's going to put down $1 million on it or something like that, or maybe 100,000 or 10,000, whatever. So the big money could come from the high donors. The little money could be a little bit grassroots. They're all emotional. They're upset.
Well, she's taking advantage of the emotions. Completely.
Right. Absolutely. So the question is, if she needs that money to actually pay recounters to show up for 10 hours to count ballots, that would make sense.
Well, yeah, but she originally said we need $2.5 million. And then she saw the money coming in, and she bumped it to $4.5 million. They surpassed that. She said, no, we need $7. We need $7.5 million.
Are they going to hire people? Is that what they're doing? Because it sounds like no.
Here's what she says. $1.1 million, $500,000, $600,000 are filing fees alone. The cost associated with the recounts are a function of the state. Attorneys' fees are likely to be another $2 to $3 million. So, recount observers in all three states. So we need likely to be $6 to $7 million.
See, this is why we have Trump in there, because he can come in under budget, on time. They're going to ask for extensions.
So Hillary's jumped into this now. So Hillary has finally jumped in with both feet saying, yeah, I support what Jill Stein's doing. Although Jill Stein said I would start World War III. Apparently Jill Stein, she's not doing this to get Hillary elected, folks. She's doing this for the money.
Yeah, I think it was somebody that I can't stand. I think it was Nate Silver. Nate Silver. He came out and said, I'm not saying this is a scam, but this sure does look like one.
Oh, yeah. No, without a doubt. It's just unbelievable how there's just no possible way that this could go down like this. It just doesn't work that way. Jill Stein is running a racket.
So, did you know that the fine print on her fundraiser says that this money may not necessarily be used for anything other than my own pocket?
Right.
Seriously, did you hear about that? There is fine print.
Absolutely, I agree.
That pretty
100%.
much allows her to actually pocket all this money.
I'm sure if it's a nonprofit organization or a 501c3 or a PAC, a political action committee, raising money for X, Y, and Z, all bets are out the window. Not her personally, but, a nonprofit that would finally give her the money. So people are talking about the electors, and you mentioned it, about paying them off or getting electors. This was posted on one of the liberal websites, which that's why I grabbed it, because even they are poo-pooing the whole idea of this recount, actually recounting anything, really even working. They put up two possibilities. One is the electors, and here's the thing about the electors that vote in each state. The electors are mostly partisan activists selected by the state parties and assigned to the winning candidates. In other words, these aren't independent folks moved by conscience. Remember, vote your conscience?
Yeah, I mean, this is typical to the primary. I didn't know how the electors worked in the primary in Ohio, and they work different in every single state. But in Ohio, let me explain it to you, and you tell me if vote your conscience is going to work on these people. I met a woman who was going to be on the what do they call it, the elector, one of the electors.
Right. No, we talked about this. Yeah. No.
And I said, "Oh, that's awesome. That sounds like so much fun." So she was going to go to the
delegate.
The delegate. The delegates actually vote on who's gonna vote for Ohio. And so she said she's a delegate for Ohio. And I said, "Great. So you're going to go to the convention and everything?" She's like, "I don't know." I was like, "What do you mean you don't know? How could you not know? You're a delegate. Why wouldn't you go to the convention?"
That would be your job. She's
like, "Well, Trump has to win." I said, "What do you mean Trump has to win? I mean, I know you're for Trump, but if he doesn't win, then you vote for who won, right?" She's like, "No. If I'm a delegate chosen by Trump, if Trump wins Ohio, I will go to the convention and vote for Trump. If Trump doesn't win Ohio, like, let me give you an example. Let's say John Kasich wins Ohio."
Right.
John Kasich's delegates will go and vote on his behalf for Ohio she needed Trump to win or she wasn't going, and guess what? She didn't get to go. Ohio went to John Kasich.
Right, what a shame. That would have been historic to be able to go to Trump's the convention.
I guess that's the next bucket list item.
Right, yeah. So these electors, they're partisans, and they're there to lock in the vote for the person who won. Yes, there are so-called faithless electors, and they are very well maybe again, but that won't be close enough, and it won't change anything in any of the key states. So that's the number one theory that Jill Stein and Hillary Clinton are trying to do: pay the electors. We pretty much can't.
It's illegal.
Well, yeah.
Totally illegal. Okay.
Well, I mean, look what they did to Bernie Sanders. There's illegalities there. And the second thing, is it Barbara Boxer?
Yeah.
Dianne Feinstein, one of those nut jobs out on the left coast. This is real. We're going to abolish the Electoral College, and we're going to win.
What?
So I think it was Dianne Feinstein, either one, Dianne Feinstein or Barbara Boxer on the left coast said, we're going to abolish the Electoral College, which does require the U.S. Constitution to be amended. And to amend the U.S. Constitution, you need 2/3 majority vote in both the House and the Senate, which are held by Republicans, no Democrats. And then it would have to be ratified by 38 states.
Okay.
And so Dianne Feinstein, Barbara Boxer, one in the same, you'll never see them in the same room. It's the same person. They're over there on the left coast in California putting to vote to change the amendment, the Constitution.
Well, yeah, but
ban the Electoral College.
They're going to have to go through the steps of making an amendment.
They've started that.
But they got to. Do you know how hard it is to pull that off? Yes. You got to get all kinds of stuff going in your favor. It's not easy to amend the Constitution. Extremely difficult.
No, not at all. So this is what they're doing. They can't accept. And what was it? Hillary Clinton saying, "Yeah, Trump won't accept. He won't accept the outcome of the vote."
Well, it turns out it's them. They were projecting. They knew they wouldn't if it happened to them, so they were worried that it wouldn't work for Trump either.
No, and this article was written by like the Daily Beast or Salon.com. It was one of those left-wing outlets, fake news, that wrote this to let the Democrats say, come on, guys, you're looking stupid by doing this. Come on. That's what I got out of it. It was
pretty shocked.
It was apparent. And then Jim Hoft with the Gateway Pundit, oh man, he did this today and he blasted them. He said it's been widely reported that there are more than 3 million votes cast by illegal aliens. If not all these votes, they were cast for Hillary Clinton. They're saying most, if not all, were for Hillary. When counting for these votes, Trump beat Clinton by more than 1 million popular votes. So if you remove the illegal votes, Trump beat Clinton in the popular vote by 1 million.
Okay.
By 1 million. Trump destroyed Clinton in the Electoral College 306 to 232. Or, if you put percentages to that, he beat her 57% to 43%.
That's a landslide.
Trump also won more than 30 states with his win of one of 4 delegates in Maine. We saw Maine had those lines crossed through them. It wasn't a red. It wasn't blue. Well, apparently Maine isn't a give-all state. So Trump got one.
Maine.
From Maine.
There's like an extra delegate.
Right.
Yeah.
So Trump ended up with 30.25 of the states, and Hillary 19.75 of the states.
Okay.
So if you divide all 50 states, I know we're talking, Electoral College evens that out. But if we're talking just states, and by the way, Jim Hoft was blasted by the New York Times for mental gymnastics of math.
Jim Hoft was mentioned by the Times?
Yeah, and this is mental gymnastics here.
Thank you for legitimizing him.
Right. But no, seriously though, folks, if you take state by state, he won 30 states, she won 19 states. Although New York, California, some big numbered states.
Right.
So,
which if we're divided up into 2 or more parts would be even more for Trump.
Well, if you split New York in half, or the whole state of New York in half,
it would be half Trump, half.
Oh yeah, or just remove New York City, make them their own voting, and then give him the whole state. It would go that way. So he says Hillary didn't even win 20 states, and Trump beat her 61% to 39% in state wins. I know. Just follow me here. If you look at it as a whole pie, and we're just showing the numbers of the whole pie, every way you look at this, it's a landslide for Trump. Every way. Because they want to abolish the Electoral College, and they want straight votes. Well, let's talk straight votes. Trump won 84% of the U.S.'s 3,083 counties. This was a truly Trump landslide win in all areas. Too bad, snowflakes. You and your terrible candidate got crushed. He called him out. Called him out, snowflakes.
I mean, I agree 100% because if you look at the way they're behaving, you see all the crybaby montages.
Oh, it's hysterical. hysterical.
Oh, so funny.
The crying is so much. And then Paul Watson.
Right.
Did you see his latest rant?
Was it which one? Because I tend to listen to everyone that comes out.
This was the one that he was ranting on about the recount, and his whole thing is butthurt losers demand recount. So let me play a little bit of that.
Yeah,
because we love Paul Watson. He's incredible.
So the temper tantrums failed, the rioting and smashing of cities failed, and sending death threats to electors failed. Now Hillary supporters, encouraged by Jill Stein's fundraising campaign, are demanding a recount in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. They spent months sniping about how evil and dangerous Trump was for saying he might not immediately accept the election results.
He refused to say that he would respect the results of this election. Now, make no mistake, by doing that, he is threatening our democracy. And the peaceful transition of power is one of the things that sets us apart. It's how we hold our country together, no matter who's in charge.
Now they're refusing to accept the election results.
Donald Trump refused to say that he'd respect the results of this election. That's a direct threat to our democracy.
So by Hillary's own logic, her supporters, along with Jill Stein, are now a direct threat to democracy. So when the right talks about vote fraud, it's a direct threat to democracy. But when the left does it, it's ethical.
But Hillary won the popular vote. What are you afraid of?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the fact that she's a lying, corrupt sociopath. Maybe the fact that her that wouldn't hesitate to carry out the vote fraud that they thought they didn't need on Election Day. The Clinton campaign has already held meetings with computer scientists who claim that there are anomalies between votes cast on electronic voting machines and those cast by paper ballots. Yeah, one problem with that, Michigan didn't even use electronic voting machines. And as Nate Silver, hardly a Trump supporter, has documented, these so-called anomalies completely disappear when you factor in demographics. This whole thing was already debunked before it even began. Is Hillary Clinton willing to risk civil war in America by installing herself as part of a coup? Now, this is all a long shot. But it just goes to illustrate how the left only professes its love for democracy when they're winning.
I mean, that's what it is. It's only democracy's a great thing, but except when we lose.
Right. They're complete hypocrites. Oh, that was such a great soundbite by him.
So sorry about that, folks. I know that we've been getting some technical issues with echoing during the soundbites. We still have the crack producer on top of that right now.
I thought it was our new DJ. He was remixing it.
It actually does have to do with the new Spreaker.
Oh,
app.
Oh, I thought DJ.
Oops.
DJ Whoopsies back there was spinning the records and making that happen.
Yeah, good time. So Jill Stein, as we said, she's raising $7 million to pocket herself, maybe to run for another campaign or run something else. And I said it earlier on in the show, the Green Party is literally the party of communists. It's not called the Communist Party anymore.
And that's different.
They changed the name.
That's different from literally Hitler. That's a little bit different because Hitler is a person and fascism is a real thing, but yeah, there's nothing on the right in the Republican Party or anything like that that actually resembles fascism, but there is actually fascism on the right. It's called a progressive fascist, otherwise known as a hardline communist, kind of like your Lenins and your Stalins and your Maos and your Castros.
On the left, God bless it.
Yeah, so we're going to report on Castro?
Oh, yeah, we're talking about Castro. We mentioned that earlier in the show, but we'll get to that. And the whole thing that we preach about here on Smith Radio is that this fight, this war that we're in, that we've always been in, this struggle of good and bad, right and wrong, evil versus good, communism versus capitalism. And they're all coming for America, every one of them. Daryl Issa came out this week, was talking to Breitbart News on XM Sirius. And he said, this is what Darrell Issa said, I'm looking forward to draining the swamp. Perhaps this hasn't happened since Teddy Roosevelt. Nobody's ridden into town with that kind of mandate to say business as usual is not going to continue. This is what the people voted for. The people voted to drain the swamp.
So what do you think about this whole Romney debacle?
Wow, we just slipped into that one, didn't we?
Well, I mean, you segued into it. You helped me to segue right into it.
My whole thing on Romney is that he is an utter piece of garbage. He is not faithful. He is faithless in Trump. Has had some scathing remarks about Trump.
During the primary.
When Trump came to his aid and lent him his leadership during his run for president.
That's right. He endorsed Romney.
Yes.
Wow. You know, Romney really blew it by picking the wrong horse. And now he's trying to cash in. Like he rode, you know what he's doing? It's like going to the horse track and picking a horse to win. And it turns out that horse loses.
Right.
And then going up to the cashier and saying, I would like to cash my winnings now.
But your horse lost.
Well, I would like to speak to the manager. And then the manager tries to lobby that maybe he should win. And then the big boss man comes down and says, no, he shouldn't. And then all of a sudden, some of the other coworkers come along and say, maybe we should pay him off. And it's just turning into a big debacle.
A big, giant mess. So Kellyanne Conway has been making her rounds.
Ooh, did she have something to say about it?
She is incredible. And I love how Trump is appointing these very strong, outspoken, well-spoken women.
Smart women.
Into positions of places of power. I mean, this debunks the whole misogynistic thing.
Absolutely. Well, we knew it was a lie from the get-go, right. But we actually have evidence that it's a lie.
Right. So CNN, the question that they're really trying to ask her, why do you hate Romney so much? You got all this hate in you for Romney. Why do you hate Romney? That's not what they asked, but it should have been.
That's what your question was.
It should have been.
Okay.
Well, it's what I'm not sure that my personal concerns matter.
But am I wrong to say that?
The decision rests with one man. And no, you're not wrong to say that because Governor Romney went out of his way. I also just think that it's Donald Trump who's shown that he has political instincts. You know, Governor Romney ran for the same office 4 years ago and lost spectacularly. It's Donald Trump who just won 306 electoral votes, won states like Michigan. Mitt Romney lost Michigan by 10 points. Donald Trump just won it. Donald Trump won Wisconsin for the first time since 1984, won Pennsylvania, won Florida, won Iowa, won Ohio. All these states that were elusive to the last couple of nominees. And the other thing is, Dana, I think there are I know there are other candidates being considered apart from the ones that are just being covered more commonly in the media. But apart from that, Governor Romney in the last 4 years, I mean, has he been around the globe doing something on behalf of the United States of which we're unaware? Did he go and intervene in Syria where they're having a massive humanitarian crisis? Meaning when I say intervene, like offer to help. Has he been helpful to Mr. Netanyahu? In other words, I'm all for party unity, but I'm not sure that we have to pay for that with the Secretary of State position. But again, let me repeat.
Whoa!
What Donald Trump decides, Kellyanne Conway and everybody else will respect. It's just the backlash from the grassroots. I'm hearing from people who say, hey, my parents died penniless, but I gave $216 to Donald Trump's campaign and I would feel betrayed. You have people saying, I thought we got rid of this type. I'm just saying that we don't even know if Mitt Romney voted for Donald Trump. He put Evan McMullin up in Utah. And so I think there are concerns that those of us who are loyal have, and you want a Secretary of State who's loyal to the President's vision of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing. There are people out there that are saying that we need unity. And she very, very well-spokenly said that we all want unity, but I don't think it should come at the expense of the Secretary of State position, which is pretty much the most powerful position outside of the actual president.
Right.
I mean,
not only that, it's the face of the president.
Right. It's very, very extremely important. And here's my thing. Donald Trump won the presidency in a certain fashion, okay? There was this disgust for establishment Republicans, establishment Democrats, business as usual. There's just this big disgust
for media,
and
biased.
There was chants of drain the swamp, and you got to really stop and think about what that means, okay? Now, when it comes to unity right after an election, it is the loser's job to seek unity with the winners.
Right.
This isn't a ball game. This isn't where the winners graciously go over and console the losers and make them feel better by buying them beer. That's not the way this works. The election is the result of people, human beings, telling the whole entire United States where we want our country to go and who we want to take us there, right?
Correct.
So why is it that we, the winners, have to then, after being told by the people, the human beings that are selecting these people, that the winners have to go to the losers and say, well, I know the people didn't want you, but you know what? We want you to be a part of us, even though the people clearly rejected you. But that's okay. The people be damned. The people be damned. We still feel bad for you and feel like you should be a part of this. No, this is how it works. The people rejected you. You need, as the losers, it is your job to figure out how to get back on board this ship. The ship's sailing. You need to either change your ways or concede to the leaders that were chosen by the people. All right? So I don't want to hear this crap where the winners have to make concessions to the losers. That's not what the people want. That's not how it works. It's not a football game. It's not a sporting event of any kind where the winners have to be gracious and go out and have beer and the winners buy the losers beer to make them feel better. It's not how it works. The people, there is a third party here, and it's called the people. You just represent what their choice is, and they rejected you. And what are you going to say? Well, I know the people reject me, but the people that won might not. Well, what are the people that won because of the people that rejected you?
The left is so disconnected with the people and their base, and this will be, as long as we stay on top of it, be the demise of the Democrat Party that we know.
Right, but that's actually a little bit off subject. What about the establishment Republicans? Or were you referring to them as Democrats?
You mentioned drain the swamp, and the phrase became very popular with Ronald Reagan.
How is it draining the swamp when you're going to put all the swamp things, you're going to put them in charge?
Right. And so Reagan said, I'm here to drain the swamp in Washington. Mitt Romney is part of that swamp.
Right. Absolutely.
He is a paid shill of the Rhino Republicans.
Absolutely. You know, it would be like this. It would be like, okay, we're draining the swamp now, and then throwing a rope to all the swamp people that you don't want the swamp donkeys that you don't want to flow down the drain. Like, no, we'll keep you. Well, the people are watching. The people are watching, and they're like, why are you not letting that guy flush down the drain? We voted for that guy to go down the drain, and you're throwing a rope to him. This is not going to work.
Right. Donald J. Trump, DJT on Spreaker, just messaged us, said that Romney is not getting anything. Maybe I'll put him in charge of the wall.
Shut up.
Who knows, man? Thanks,
really
Donald. Well, you never know. It says DJT.
All right. All right. Well, thank you.
DJ Trump.
Thank you for letting us break that.
But no, you're absolutely right. This is good. This is good, and I don't want anybody to get upset and get nervous. This is good that this has happened. Kellyanne Conway is connected to Trump at the hip.
Yeah, there's no way after that speech that we just heard, the soundbite we just played. There's no way.
And that's not one. She has been on many news outlets, and they're blasting her because CNN and MSNBC, all the MSM, they want this to be an issue.
Well,
they want disconnect and disaccord. Oh, we're getting at those Republicans.
All right. Well, I have secondhand insider information, like real insider information here.
Give it to me.
Turns out there is a real inner struggle between two factions of the Donald Trump inner circle who are fighting over Romney. There's a pro-Romney and anti-Romney camps in the Donald Trump inner circle, and they are tearing each other apart right now. So it's not necessarily about Donald Trump deciding that he might take Romney. It's about very powerful people appointed to these places that are in his inner circle now fighting for him.
Okay. Well, Mike Pence is heading up the transition team.
Okay.
I can only have the faith in Pence to know that this would be destructive.
Now, he's very right-winger, very right-wing, very, very, very conservative.
Christian, God-fearing man, family, integrity.
So I'm torn about whether he would support or reject Romney on the fact that there's this establishment part of Pence. You know, he is an actual politician.
Right. He has been for years and years and years.
But as much as the establishment may like Pence, he's also the kind of conservative that's a little bit too right-wing for your average establishment guy like a Romney. Romney's too left-wing for Pence. So I'm not sure whether Pence looks at Romney and says, oh, I want him. I like him. I'd like to have Romney here because he's one of my establishment buddies. He's my drinking buddy when we go to the parlor after wherever. Or is he like, whoa, I'm a right-winger. I'm a Tea Party guy, whatnot. You know, I'm that kind of a right-winger. Romney's not. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want him here. So I'm not sure which side of that argument Pence is on. The people that are really fighting for Romney are going to shock you. Do you know who it is? The one
probably won't shock.
The one won't shock you. The other one will.
Paul Ryan.
Well, he's not part of the inner circle.
Oh, no. Oh, you're talking about the inner circle exclusively.
Yeah.
Who's fighting for him?
The one guy fighting for him, and I can't believe he's doing this because he's all in. He's all in on it, and if he loses, he's all out. And that's Reince Priebus.
Well, of course, I'm not shocked, but Reince is that guy though. Reince is the establishment. He is part and parcel of.
He's the leader of the establishment.
Yes.
Oh, the other one is Jared Kushner.
No.
Yeah, this would be Donald Trump's son-in-law married to Ivanka, and he is pushing hard for Romney, which makes it extremely hard because the story now is, you know, Lou Dobbs?
Yeah. Oh, I love Lou Dobbs.
He said whoever is responsible for pushing or bringing up Romney at all for Secretary of State should be fired immediately.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. How do you fire your son-in-law?
Very gingerly and quickly, like a Band-Aid. Rip it off.
Oh, rip it hard.
Rip it hard.
And go to your daughter and say, I'm really sorry. I like your husband, but...
So this...
And we could still do the Christmas party together.
Right. We still do it. I'm very saddened that Jared would even think. I mean, for him to say Romney's good and pushing for it, he's obviously has no clue about how much Romney hates or hated Trump. What is he missing here? So I'm actually glad this did come up. I'm glad it came up before he's taken office because the absolute backlash on social media, which Trump is connected to. He is the social media king, if you will, on Twitter. The backlash on Twitter has just been
oh my gosh. I think that Trump is letting this marinate so that the people that are pushing for Romney so hard will see what's going on Twitter and realize this ain't going to work.
Right. Somebody made a comment that kind of eased my mind. They're like, oh no, man, Trump did this on purpose.
Yeah.
It's to get back at Romney, to show Romney how much the people hate him.
Right. I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that, but I've also heard that the inner circle, I mean, these are insiders that are saying that there is a real serious battle for Romney. Here's something that a lot of people are, for some reason, this has escaped their thought process. Nobody is choosing Secretary of State except for one person.
That would be Trump?
Yeah. It doesn't matter who wants what and who's going to be mad. Reince Priebus worked his butt off to get into the inner circle of Donald Trump.
Right.
So when Trump says, Reince, you can go F yourself.
There's the front door.
I'm picking Giuliani.
Right. And that was the thing, too. Oh, Breitbart did a...
Reince isn't going to walk out on him.
No. Reince is going to be like, okay, daddy.
Yeah.
That's what Milo refers to Trump as daddy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Breitbart did a poll and on this whole thing and who should be Secretary of State to the people. The people at Breitbart that read Breitbart, who do you think? Overwhelmingly was Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah, there's some people that really like him.
In fourth place on this poll was Mitt Romney at a very little, because he was part of the poll.
Oh, he came in fourth place? He was pretty high.
Yeah, and in the Olympics, you wouldn't even get a medal.
Oh, there's no bronze. There's no copper.
No. Is
it tin?
Aluminum foil.
Oh man, it's like crumpled up.
So Trump said he was going to serve the people.
Okay.
Trump said that he was going to serve the people. Kellyanne Conway, in a different interview on media, she made the statement. She said, you've got to trust in Trump's decision. I trust him. I trust his decision-making process, and it's about the American people, and whatever he picks, I'm down with it. She said that over and over and over again.
And that sounds like she's trying
down.
to set up the public that it's going to be Romney. And she's trying to get people to buy into the fact that even though they don't like Romney, they should trust his instincts. Trust Trump's instincts for picking him.
Right.
But that soundbite we played a minute ago leads me to believe there is no way. Because Kellyanne Conway is so important to the campaign that why would he throw her under the bus by then nominating him? After she said that.
Yeah, she said that it would be absolutely devastating to voters. The girl she quoted this story. And both my parents died penniless. I don't have any money either, but I spent $216 to give it to Trump to win. This would crush me. For her to come up with that story, is that not a cry out to Trump? Trump, you need to listen.
Yeah, right.
So don't worry about it. I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it.
I think that it's going. My opinion on Romney is that he's got to be set up for humiliation here.
Okay, if he doesn't get it, and he doesn't get any position, although Trump on Spreaker said he's going to maybe think about giving him the Wall Project. If he doesn't get, anything,
thanks for listening, Donald.
If he doesn't get anything, that would be a huge slap to the establishment.
And it should be. Like I said, it's their job to make the concessions and make the changes and go back to the people and say, okay, we accept that we've been rejected by you. And for them to demand that they should have unity, that the winners should make concessions to the losers in order to satisfy this crazy idea of unity at the expense of the winners, I think it's a slap in the face of the people who have rejected them.
Right. No, absolutely. And that would be Mitt Romney having anything to do with this country in a political position. Anything would be a slap to the American people because he showed himself to be
the establishment
and a hack, and he's not trustworthy. I wouldn't vote for him for anything.
Well, I did at one time, and I do think that it's possible he could be a good, effective leader. I think he's probably a smart guy. Here's my problem. You can't have a spot on the Trump campaign or the Trump administration after what you said in that speech.
It was absolutely deplorable in a bad way.
Was he in a basket?
He was in a huge basket.
That waste basket.
Romney set that meeting up to go up on stage in front of those people and trash Donald Trump.
Big time. It was
trashing.
Like it was the most devastating. Was it 14 minutes or something, or 12 minutes?
It was unbelievable, right?
Of just trashing him to pieces, and it was the most effective. I mean, nobody has slammed Trump as effectively as Romney did, and it was something that should not have been done by a Republican, considering that he was leading.
Like Rush Limbaugh says all the time, the Democrats rally around and circle the wagons to their people, while the Republicans eat their own.
Yeah, they're team players, and we're not, and that's what makes it so difficult to beat them, because there is power in numbers, and there's power in the unity that they have and stuff like that, and that's why they're calling for unity on the Republican Party, because they know that it becomes a more powerful force. But I'm going to tell you right now, the unity within the party comes at the expense of the support that they will get from the public.
Right, absolutely. That will unify the party. The people and Trump and making the establishment get in line.
Yeah, but they won't. The people will not. The people won't accept Romney as Secretary of State. They're talking about unity that's going to cause division amongst the people.
Right. Trump just messaged me again. He said that I don't keep my enemies close. Rather, I grind them into dirt. It's a good times, man. And, I could Romney, go away. It was nice of you to stay out of the way when your cruise crew lost, and you stayed out of the election.
He didn't, because he was pushing for Egg McMuffin. I must have been hungry or something. I don't know.
It was so sad, though, that I didn't even know about that.
Right.
That's how sad it was. So stay out, stay away, and go away. Nobody needs you, Mitt Romney, anymore. You've already tarnished your reputation. You've tarnished anything that any glimpse of hope that I ever had for you. It's gone. It is absolutely 100% gone. And if Paul Ryan wasn't Speaker of the House, you and him should go off into the sunset and never come back. And go hang out at Brokeback Mountain.
I got a new theory.
What's that?
Okay, so the story is from insiders that there's a big fight on the inside about putting Romney in charge. You want to hear my conspiracy theory?
What's that?
It's a little far-fetched, but bear with me. Bear with me on this. What if they knew that if Trump tried to call him to the Trump Tower for a position, a big position like that Romney would know that something was up, and he would know that Trump would not be down with that, and so he would reject it. So in order to dupe him into coming in and running for the position, or being a nominee or a candidate for the position, word needed to leak out that his brother-in-law and possibly his sister and Reince Priebus himself were all lobbying for him. And that there's a good chance, because these people that Trump trusts these people, especially his own family. And that would lure him in. That would be the only way. Think about this. If they were all just like, I don't care who you bring in. And Trump said, well, I'll tell you who I want. I want you to bring in Romney. I want to see if he'll be my Secretary of State. Who the hell's going to buy that? Certainly not Romney. He would have to be like, ooh, wow, after everything I said?
Hold on. How uncomfortable would that first get together? It's like
what if you heard from Donald Trump or from reputable sources that it was Donald Trump that wanted you in there to actually possibly take the the Secretary of State position, you'd be like, wow, you mean he's not mad at me? And then you would stop and you'd be like, wait a minute.
Is this a double-double?
This
double
doesn't
crossed?
sound good.
No.
However, here's where the believability comes in. Reince Priebus, your own son-in-law, who happens to be, a lot of experts are saying that Jared Kushner may be solely responsible for him winning the election because of the stuff that he was doing behind closed doors.
Right.
And those are only two. They said there's a huge internal battle. So there might be all kinds of people. But what if this was all choreographed to get him to believe that he actually does have a legitimate shot of being selected in order to bring him in and say, you thought you had a chance. Here's my offer to you. And he slides over a piece of paper.
Right.
And Romney turns it over and it says, dog catcher.
Yes!
That's what I'm thinking. What do you think? That's a crazy far out theory.
That is exactly what I think.
So you think Reince, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and maybe several other, maybe a handful of people would be willing to lie and say, yes, we're going to fight for you, when really they're just all in on it. Even Reince?
Dude, that'd be a hell of a joke.
April Fools! Now get out of here, you schmuck. You're fired.
Wow.
Oh, well, you need the soundbite right now of one of the Apprentice shows. You're fired.
This is painful. Yeah. This really and truly hurts.
Oh, that is painful. That's what Elizabeth, was that Elizabeth?
Yeah, E. Warren.
That was her right after getting fired.
Fired? Would she get fired?
This is painful. Yeah. This really and truly hurts.
She got fired from the world.
Okay, so let's talk about what's going on with the Democrat Party.
You mean they're a thing?
No, they are in complete and utter disarray. And Juan Williams ran into, or Laura Ingraham, had to stamp down and stamp out Juan Williams and the lies that the left tells.
He's been telling lies for a long time, but...
So check out this real quick, and then we're going to touch on the communist Castro death. But real quick, this is the Democrat Party summed up in one single soundbite at the very beginning. It's a different girl talking pro Trump. Then Juan Williams steps in, and Laura Ingraham has to put it all down.
We are united right now, and the irony of that is the duration of the general election. Everyone was talking about how Donald Trump's going to lead Republicans into the wilderness for generations. Well, guess what? Guess which party is in the wilderness right now? It's the Democratic Party who's had to delay nominations because they don't know what the future looks like for them.
Well, I think the question really is about the appointments and the appointment process. So you have people who I would say don't fit into exactly a team of rivals, but to many people, a team of radicals.
He's talking about the Republican Party and Trump's nominees being a team of radicals. I love how they do that.
A team of radicals in terms of...
Her mic was turned off.
She was like going to the bathroom and running back after she heard him lie like that.
Here's what I think. Okay, well, it was not said by Juan, but what you said, team of radicals. This is the kind of stuff that has turned people against Washington, D.C. And these types of lines against true patriots who sacrifice for their country, who are beloved among the men and women in the military, who actually do the heavy lifting for all of us. General Mattis is one of the most beloved Marines of the last 50 years. General Flynn is considered one of the preeminent intelligence experts of our age. So to throw out these lines, a team of radicals, that serves nobody's interest. If you have a substantive disagreement with their approach to fighting terror or their approach to intelligence, that's fine. But these blithe comments, I think, have poisoned political discussion in this country, and I think it's exactly why people despise this city.
Dude, I have not heard somebody talk to Juan Williams like that probably ever.
The look on his face, he was crawling. He was the snake crawling, slithering back underneath that rock.
Wow. My dad loathes him so much that every single time he comes on, he immediately grabs the remote as quick as he can. It could be under a pile of papers. There could be an entire buffet of food over the top of his remote, and he will blast it out of the way all over the floor to get to it.
Because he loves buffets. He loves the buffet.
Well, I'm just saying, he could have a chafing dish over the top of it. And just give him my remote. He's got to turn the TV off so fast. He would love to have heard that.
Juan Williams is despicable. I think Fox News has him around just so that they...
Well, you know why he got hired, don't you? He got fired from NPR for saying something non-PC, and it was a BS firing.
How do you get fired from NPR for being a lib?
No, he said something that was...
I mean, but he's a lib. But that's where you go, NPR, to hang out.
Right. He was there because he said something that was controversial, that was pro-right-wing.
Wow. Oh, yeah, NPR, you can't have that. You can't have pro-right-wing. It's just not possible.
Yeah, and so he ended up... It was so controversial that Fox News ended up giving him a job.
Well, they mentioned in that sound clip about the DNC and the person that is being appointed. Did you hear about this? The leader, the possible leader of the DNC?
Yeah.
Being appointed. His name is Keith Ellison. A racist, hateful, Black Panthers, divisive individual that Louis Farrakhan. He was down with Louis Farrakhan and the Black Panthers and the racist. The DNC wants him to be the head.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to leave all our listeners hanging.
Okay. What was that?
So Juan Williams got fired. It says on this article that was quite a while ago, Wednesday night, after 10 years with the network NPR, for comments he made about Muslims on Fox News. So he was a full-time employee working at NPR, but he would come on Fox News periodically as a contributor. And he said something about Muslims on Fox News and him getting fired. Thursday was like a day in office.
I would hope he would say something about Muslims that's truthful, like they worship a deity that is evil and preaches hate and preaches murder. And that's what you need to do as a Muslim, as a good follower of Islam. You must cause and wreak as much violence as you can to gain superiority over non-believers.
So here's the quote. I mean, look, Bill, it was on Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Bill, I'm not a bigot. You know the kind of books I've written about civil rights movement in this country. But when I get on the plane, I got to tell you, I see people who are in a Muslim garb, and I think, they're identifying themselves first and foremost as Muslims, and I get worried. I get nervous. That's what he said.
You should get nervous.
Well, he got fired for that by NPR.
That is not very shocking. NPR was just that. It is unbelievable that NPR is allowed to take taxpayer dollars to operate a business that would certainly go under. All the left-wing radio shows.
Right.
All of them. Where are they at? Who are they?
Right. They can't sustain themselves.
No. And
nobody.
What was that? Air America? What was the one that, I don't know. Anyways, it was a left-wing liberal talk show, and it went belly up. They all do.
Right. They all do. And the funny thing, last thing about Juan Williams, when he got fired from NPR, when he got hired full-time by Fox News, they gave him more money than he was making at NPR. So it ended up being a big boom.
It was a win-win for him.
I guess so.
Wow. Well,
so anyway, yeah, go on with your Farrakhan.
So my buddy, my newfound friend Tucker.
Oh my gosh. We used to make so much fun of him. What happened to him?
He can't stop himself.
Well, he's decided I'm not going to be a cuck anymore.
Right.
And he was a cuck, and now he's not.
No, he can't stop.
Run an entire campaign for a year and a half predicated on the idea that Trump is not acceptable because he's a racist. And then you pick a guy who is literally a Louis Farrakhan protege, black nationalist, separatist, advocate of violence, anti-Semitism, and you make that guy the head guy? I mean, the irony alarms are going off. Can you hear them?
Yeah, but I think also people would have said a long time ago.
Okay.
Trump.
This knucklehead, he just... people a long time ago said Donald Trump is racist, misogynist, homophobe.
No, they didn't. No,
the DNC did. The Democrats did.
A long time ago?
Whenever. Who knows?
Like recently.
Right.
Nobody called him anything before he ran for president.
Other than, running a thug life. No, that's
inside,
recent. That's
recent. Insider information.
Yeah. No, so Tucker just smacks this guy around and says, "No, man, the alarms are going off. The irony alarms.
Do you hear him?" He didn't answer the question. The question was, "Do you hear the irony alarm?"
And he couldn't answer.
He couldn't answer that. Nope.
And so he went straight off the rails into the question he wished he'd asked about Donald Trump being a racist. He wished he asked him that question. So he started to answer it. Trump's racist. But come on, man. Come on.
Yes, I do agree that he's a racist. That's how he answered that. Oh,
no. So the other big news in the world of news, Cuban communist, terrorist communist, longest terrorist being allowed to be alive, claims there's 700 assassination attacks on his life.
If you stop and think about it, of the entire duration of the Cold War, I think I may not be wrong about this. Maybe, he's maybe the second last. I thought he was the last. He's the second last living person who finally died, who was a leader of during the Cold War.
Right, for that communist takeover of the world, he was part of that communist takeover.
But I don't know if you would count this person or not, but Mikhail Gorbachev is actually still alive.
Oh.
Yeah, he's still alive.
Yeah, but he doesn't really have power.
Well, he actually was instrumental in having a peaceful transition from the Soviet Union to abolishing communism. He actually facilitated that. Okay. He could have fought it.
Right.
He could have fought the people.
He could have been just like Castro and kept his people so poor, so desolated, enslaved, just destroyed.
Right. It becomes an institutionalized slavery is what communism is.
The people who live in Cuba, they got some high school kids together or something, and they started chanting, we're fighting the revolution still. We're still in...
Okay. Did they outnumber the people that cheered that he was dead?
No, those parades lasted through the night in Little Cuba, which is referred to as southern Florida.
Interesting.
No, they had parades, and Fox News was on the scene. They were talking to people. It is unbelievable what Castro has done to the people of Cuba. They've been brainwashed. They've been demoralized. They have been set back. They still live in the 1950s. Nothing has changed in 60 years, 65 years. Nothing has changed for the Cuban people. And here's just real quick. Here's how it began. It began with power, insane, incestuous power and money and corruption with the Batista family. The Batista family gained power as the leader of Cuba and then raped and pillaged all the money they could possibly do from the capitalist who set up Cuba as a huge international tourist island. But did all kinds of money, casinos and all kinds of money. And if you think for 1 second casinos don't benefit cities, you go down to Lawrenceburg, Indiana, that was a dump hole back in the day, and you see what that casino's done to that city. Completely revitalized it. I digress. Lawrenceburg, Indiana is not Cuba.
Oh, we have. I have a little bit of video from Cuba.
Okay, hold on, real quick. So the Batista family jets off in the middle of the night on New Year's Eve on airplanes with all their gold and all the money that they ripped from the people of Cuba, all to be taken over by Castro and Che Guevara, who just murderers and terrorists of terror to keep the people enslaved. Good job. So you got the BBC fawning after him. You got the Prime Minister Trudeau, who's now trending, by the way. Trudeau's trending.
Yeah.
He had this sycophant, this love affair with Castro.
Apparently, I didn't know that.
Fidel. France, their love affair still lives strong with Fidel. And Putin. Putin gave historical iconic figure. Yeah. And Putin also, slip of the tongue, by the way, just a little side note. He said Russian borders, they don't end. So
we need to be careful.
And then he said, I'm just joking. He said,
am I? Or am I?
Is there $100 bill in my wallet?
So here's some live footage taken right after the announcement in Cuba of Castro dying.
That's the parade. This is the parade.
Wow, they're singing in English.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
The parade went on. They said people were partying in the streets. It went on all day through Saturday. This happened. News slowly leaked out Friday evening that Fidel had died. And so by the middle of the morning, it made its way to America, and people partied all day and all night that he had died. However, Raul, the brother of Castro, Fidel, Raul has been in power since Fidel's been sick and dying. Raul said, don't you make no, never mind. This means nothing. We will keep fighting for our people to be enslaved.
What does that say? I mean, you gotta stop and think what it really means to be a government of, people say, what is communism? Communism is where the people own the means of production, which means by people, we mean a government that is run by the people with some sort of figurehead in charge of that, but the people own everything. The people own the means of production and all that kind of stuff. And so, what does it tell you about the actual practice of democracy, or of communism? Excuse me, communism. What does it say about that when you have this lifelong person in charge of your communist country, and then when he dies, his brother takes over? And then when he dies, who takes over after that? This is a typical dictatorship, bloodline, oligarchy, monarchy. I don't know. I mean, if you consider that atheism is a religion, and it is the religion of communism.
Yes.
This is a monarchy.
Yes.
Because it's going to go through the bloodlines. You have to be a descendant of the Castro family in order to take over. I don't know if Raul has kids. I don't know if he does or doesn't, but I'm presuming he does. I'll bet you maybe a son of his takes over one day.
They'll certainly find somebody that would be a figurehead, a puppet.
Somebody needs to man the sword at the firing squad. The ready, aim, fire.
Oh, yeah. And so once you get that guy, a little side note, did you know Hugo Chavez?
Yeah.
Not Hugo Chavez.
No? Somebody else?
Oh, Che Guevara.
Oh, Che.
Yeah. Che was instrumental in the bloodletting to get Fidel into power.
Which is exactly how it always works in communism. You have to kill all opposition, which is why communism has killed more innocent human beings than anything else in history combined.
In the 19th century alone. Or 20th century. 20th century alone.
Yeah.
Literally. So Che, so obsessed and so in love with murder and death, had the government come into his office and knock out the entire wall of his office, the whole wall that faced the outside, and put a giant plate glass window in there that overlooked the firing squad.
Oh my goodness. That's what kind of people that you put in charge of this
stuff. Che was killed, by the way, by Fidel said, Che, you gotta go, man. So Che's like, okay, I'll spread communism to South America. So he's on a hunt, spread communism to South America.
He was trying to do what they were doing in Moscow to the Eastern Europe.
Right, correct.
It was called the domino theory, where they were, all these countries fall like dominoes.
And he was killed by capitalist farmers who captured him, and their government he was wanted by their government. Because when you start to overthrow a government will come after you for arrest and seizure, whatever. So it was capitalist farmers, personal responsibility, farm working capitalist who ended Chase reign. God bless Chad. God bless capitalism.
God bless those who, took care of business.
And capitalism, I've said this many times before, capitalism is a gift from God that we cannot molest, malign, and ruin. When they say crony capitalism, those capitalists, the fat cats. No. That's the government getting involved in capitalism.
It's really a misnomer. I think it was communists who coined the phrase crony capitalism. I believe the more correct term would be, and more honest term would be, crony socialism.
Absolutely.
Because that's what it really is.
Right. So they've got to destroy and malign and take and steal to keep the power to themselves. America was founded on the premise that the government serves the people, and these communists who are embedded in our country and they're in Cuba are there to turn things around, do a 180, and make the people beholden to the government. Just like every single country in all of human history, that's the way they have always been. People taking power, killing, robbing, stealing, whatever they got to do.
Yeah, and for those of you wondering why would they do this? Why would anybody want communism? First of all, communism is an easy sell. It's the politics of envy. And when you could show poor people, and by the way, a vast majority of people in any given country can be construed as poor or lower middle class or middle class or whatever. And they'll call you middle class to make you feel good. But it's easy to show those people that there's other people that have more than them. And all you have to do is say that those people that have more than them got it by dishonest ways. All right. Now, why would you go and do this? Because the system that you're selling ends up convincing the majority of people to give all the power to you and to keep all the power with you. And as we could see it in Castro, it's going to stay 100% power for him and all of his family for eternity until the people finally realize they've been duped.
50 years. It hasn't worked.
No, they're terrible.
50 years.
By the way, they live in the kind of island that would easily be equivalent when it comes to tourism dollars exporting tourism.
The Caribbean.
That or Hawaii.
Right.
It'd be equivalent. That's the kind of island that is. Who here, raise your hand if you like to go on vacation to Florida. Well, Cuba is like a giant place that's like Florida, except there's no money there because nobody goes there.
No, even this whole opening up of tourism by Obama.
It's not going to make any difference.
Man.
It's not going to make any difference because it's a communist country. What they need is capitalism.
Right. And people saying, but look, your embargo, America, you've kept them poor. No. We just want them to have free and fair elections. We want their people to be free. And we want the tyrannical government to stop its tyranny.
Right.
In oppression of people. You stop being the oppressor of people, and there's no embargo.
There you go.
It's simple.
Yeah.
Oh. And you can see it all over the world right now in Italy. Italy is now falling to the wayside as well. Immigrants from South Africa chanting Allah and terrorizing people in the streets, saying that this is the poor people that have been shipped to Italy to keep those people poor, to keep the whole nation poor. And this is the lie that they feed you. They feed you the whole lie that these immigrants, illegal immigrants, they say, we deserve a decent life. It's the South Africans. When I was in Italy, the people who were always causing trouble, the corruption, the prostitution, the stealing, black South Africans illegally in Italy. And that was back in the 90s.
Interesting.
If you saw a man, it's black, he looks South African, you can pretty much tell. You're always standing off because you don't know what he's about to do.
Interesting. So they were there and breaking laws.
Yeah. All the prostitutes that you see walking the streets at night, they're all black.
So they would come up to Italy.
Right. Make money.
Now, why wouldn't the Italian government get rid of their illegal immigrants?
They do, but the Italian government's
for the same reason as everybody else.
Yeah, it's corrupt.
Well, we'll see what Donald Trump does with the illegal immigrants in America. It'd be very interesting to see because there's that whole, bleeding heart liberal argument of, you can't tear away family members or tear apart families or whatnot. So
the black students in my sister's class said that they were chanting, they were not chanting, but the montage, they kept saying over and over again that Trump's going to send us back to Africa.
Well, that's not going to happen. That's absolutely not going to happen.
Who is teaching these kids? We've got to take our country back, and it starts with education.
Well, I hope that your sister in the classroom decided to tell them or had the courage to say that's not going to happen.
Right. She said that's not going to happen. Then she said, threatened them. Said no more talk about politics.
Okay.
And threatened that they'd be written up and sent to principal's office. No more talk.
One time I was at a poker table in Lake Tahoe, and I said something pro-Trump, and this dealer was so angry. He kind of looked like he may have been illegal. I don't know. But he was so angry. He's like, hey, no talking politics at my table. He was angry.
Wow.
And I said, I know who he's voting for. I got to say it under my breath. He was so angry. I actually laughed at him.
That's good times, man.
Because he had that coming. When he got so angry, we even kind of looked at each other and wondered if he was serious because it was so outlandish.
Wow.
And
I don't understand. I mean, obviously, if people are starting to argue about politics at the table, maybe,
right.
Yeah.
No.
But if somebody just made a comment, just flip it.
And, we are the customer, and he is there to just serve and serve us cards.
Right.
And just make sure we're having a good time. And if there's a dispute, obviously help to figure that out. But nobody was arguing about politics.
Right.
He just snapped on us.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving dinner, just before we eat with the family, my dad always says a prayer for the whole family, and we all get in the room. We all says his prayer. So he said the prayer, and after the prayer was over, amen, I yelled, Trump.
Oh,
and he said, yep, and God bless Trump.
Yeah, that's right. We had a great Thanksgiving. I think it was 100%. And by the way, my brother-in-law is a black man.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
Everybody's a little bit apprehensive of talking politics around him. So finally, I had to bring it up just to ease the tensions. So tell us about that post you put up on Facebook.
And he did put up. Oh, that's right. You were yes. Go.
So he put up a post on Facebook basically saying that he was appalled at people unfriending those over their politics. And so he said, well, here's your chance to unfriend me right now. Yes. I'm voting Trump.
And it didn't go viral, but in a small sense, it was the most liked and most shared post that he'd ever posted.
That's what he did say. He said the most shared, most liked, but also he said that he only follows and gets followed by very close people, his close family members and longtime friends and all that kind of stuff. He said that day, like maybe within the first hour, 4 people unfriended him, which for him would be big.
Right.
Because he isn't following friending random people.
No.
And so he thought
and his wife
funny.
Was your sister worried about the business. You can't do that. What about the business? No. That'll probably actually get you more business.
Yeah, they like his business is very friendly to Republican Party.
Yes. And there was a post online, a business of sorts. I think it was a landscape business that took a doll made up of Hillary, put her in a cage, and set it out front of their store to jail her.
Wow,
this was during the campaign.
That's pretty ballsy.
And he put the video of them they welded it. It was a huge cage, and they welded it, all the steel. I mean, it was thousands of dollars to make this thing. And they got the forklift, and they picked it up, and they showed him wheeling it out. This is like a montage of all this. And while they were doing that, he played a recording of a now former customer scathing, just going off on him. And this is going to ruin you. And I'm telling everybody, you're going to be ruined.
No, probably not. That's free business for him, probably.
Well, and I shared the video. I thought it was awesome.
Right.
So why not, right?
It depends on if he works in a local area or local market.
Right. Well, it looked, it's hard
if
to
the local market is really pro-Trump, then that's probably a really smart thing that he did.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at the margin of win, look at the landslide win.
Right.
He's good to go in my book.
It's 2-1, right? Almost.
Wow, the fast 3 hours you're going to spend anywhere, folks. Share us with your friends and your family.
Don't forget, we are the real news. Wow, we got done.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.